Immigrant survival show for millions of immigrants. America is not just a country. It is a dream of freedom, opportunity, and a better life. But behind the dream lies a system filled with confusion, fear, and life-changing consequences. One mistake can destroy everything, but the right knowledge can change everything, helping immigrants achieve the American dream without the nightmares. The Immigrant Survival Show. This is where knowledge becomes power. Alrighty, good evening everyone, good night, good morning, or wherever you are joining us all over the world. We appreciate you for following the 30 days survival marathon for immigrants all over America and immigrants who want to come to America. This is a show that is not just about getting papers, it's also a show about helping immigrants to be better immigrants, to achieve better, to focus more on their dreams, whether they already have papers or not. So we appreciate you. And of course, we are back here for day 12 of our 30-day marathon edition before the show becomes a weekly show. This 30-day experience is part of our introducing our new office in the Dallas metropolitan area, actually in Arlington. Dallas is everywhere. When I used to hear Dallas before, I didn't know it's like about 20 or 100 countries in one. So we're in the Arlington area of Dallas, and the idea is to spend these 30 days answering as much of your questions as possible, while at the same time giving encouragement, giving education, and encouraging you one form or the other. And to help me make this happen every night for this month of June is I call them the 4 Musketeers. About 3 are present tonight. With me is Jolomi right at the top right there. Jolomi, wave to the crowd right there. Thank you so much for the work you do. She's one of our researchers, paralegal, doing all those heavy lifting in the back room. And of course, we have our Grace Okafor, who's also helping with a lot of research, a lot of attending to our viewers, because we are live on several platforms right now. We are live on YouTube, we are live on Facebook, we are live on LinkedIn, and we are live on Instagram. So we need people to help us respond or get me the questions as you post them in your different threads. And of course, we have our Samuel Ope, my deputy for the show. Very soon he'll be running this show by himself. Thank you so much, Samuel, for the work that you do with your team. I appreciate you guys so much. So I'll put you guys in the studio to keep helping me make this thing the great show that is turning out to be. We're already getting some great feedback from the show, and I want to appreciate all those of you out there who are helping us to share the link, especially even some of my friends that don't need the papers. They are ready. If they can dash me some American papers if I want. But they've been very good in helping me to share this everywhere. So I want to celebrate you. I want to appreciate you for helping us to ground this show. We know it's going to be a long marathon before we become a household feature for immigrants all over America and those planning to come to America. But that is our goal. That's our ambition, to be able to be the premier immigrant survivor show all over America that people have to tune in to get the latest in terms of memos of the day about what's going on, to get the latest in terms of updates that is happening in America, and of course, the place to go for the best legal advice that is well considered by somebody who has done 29 years practicing immigration law in America. So we come with a lot of pedigree, but we know we have to earn your trust. We have to earn your respect as we come every day and do our best to help you realize the American dream without the nightmares. So today, as always, we're always going to start with the memo of the day, which is where I don't want to call it a rant, because this is immigration law now. It's not Mayor Fadei. But my memo of the day is focused on one central issue, that affects immigrants all over America, and every one of us can learn from it, both those who are already citizens, those who are on their way, and those who are descendants of immigrants, at least first generation immigrants. This show is for you. I think yesterday we talked about marriages. Maybe tomorrow we're going to talk about building credit in America. It's not always going to just be about how to get green card or get work permit. The memo is about growing you. The whole show is about growing you to be the best immigrant that you can be. So we start with the memo of the day, and then we go to the updates, because every day you wake up, something is always happening in American immigration. Either Trump has done one new thing or a judge has made a decision on something. So we're going to go to the updates that happened in the last 24 to 48 hours that we have not yet talked about on the show. Then after that, we're going to take a long time answering every question you have to throw at us wherever you have it. So if you have questions for us, this is the time to start typing it on the screen or to start getting it ready so that you can take advantage of that opportunity to get free answers to your questions, so that you don't have to go get a lawyer right now to be able to listen to whatever we have to say. But I'll put a caveat as we get started that because I'm going to be answering generic questions generically without knowing your specific situation, I want to encourage you and to understand that this is just me giving general advice. For the specificity of my advice and how it applies to your specific person, I encourage you to seek legal counsel, possibly book an appointment with us to talk about how this thing applies with you directly, or book a consultation with your immigration attorney if you already have one, or there's one in your neighborhood that you would rather use rather than using us. It's okay. The important thing is for you to use an immigration lawyer you trust, that you believe can do your job for you. So don't take my advice and start executing like that. Talk to professionals. That is they call it a disclaimer, so that tomorrow you don't say you had it on a question show, therefore you want to hold me responsible, especially if you did not execute what I'm telling you correctly. Okay, let's start with the memo of the day right after we come back. I have to start clean. When I come back, we will talk about the memo of the day. But for now, just watch this. I'll be back in 30 seconds. My name is Ope Banwo, and they call me the Immigration Rottweiler. Not because I bark, not because I make noise, but because I don't let go. When your case gets tough, when the system pushes back, when others start telling you there is nothing we can do, that's when you call me. Because once I lock into your case, I don't stop, I don't quit, and I don't back down until we get results. So go book a consultation on speakwithope.com now, and let's activate the Rottweiler mode on your case before the immigration knocks on your door. Alrighty. Immigration is not going to knock on your door in Jesus' name. All right. And before they think of knocking on your door, you're already 10 steps ahead because you have been following this show. You know what to do. Like a son of Issachar, in tough times, they knew what to do. So you will know what to do by making it a date with us on this show every day at 5 p.m. as we get into it until the show becomes once a week at the end of the month. Here is the memo of the day. And today on this memo, I hope I have the question. Today, I want to talk about, do you think you are safe? 10 reasons that legal immigrants are receiving unexpected immigration notices in 2026. Anybody who's been paying attention will tell you what we are witnessing is unprecedented in the history of America. I've been here for 31 years now. What we are witnessing in the last 1 year has been short of amazing. In fact, it's not short of amazing, it has been very amazing. Where even people who already have citizenship, who have the blue passport, they don't feel safe in their houses anymore because they can invite you for a hearing at any point, and they can start deportation proceedings against you at any time. We have seen 17 charged last week who have already passports, American passport, and they want to take it away from them because they said they committed fraud or one thing or the other before they got it. Not to talk about the ones that don't have papers. So we have seen some amazing things happen that has not been happening before. And there are many who think, oh, I'm legal, so I'm safe. So I want to talk about that, the dangerous immigration myth costing immigrants their peace of mind. And I'm going to give you 10 reasons legal immigrants are receiving unexpected deportation notices in 2026 so that you can use that as a guide and begin to tidy up yourself. Like they say in my native tongue in Africa, Nigeria, they say a war that has been pre-declared does not catch the wise cripple unawares. But the minute that you hear that they've announced the war, you start moving. So same way, once you know that these are some of the reasons that people are receiving deportation notices now and they're taking them to court, you can begin to tidy up yourself, tidy up your papers, and make sure you are not a victim of the season. Right now, every season come and go. Right now, we are dealing with the season of immigration enforcement. And I've been very clear in many forums. I will not spend my time arguing why the Trump administration is doing what they are doing. That doesn't help you. It doesn't help me. My job is to help you to stay here, get as many your papers as much as possible. I can't do a great job over antagonizing the government over that. And in any case, I don't have a problem with a lot of what the government is doing in terms of trying to tidy up their border. I've said that before. Now, they are overdoing it in many respects. We all know that, and we'll talk about that. But every nation on earth is trying to control immigrants within its borders. America has just shown that they are not an exception, even though we all expected, because this is considered the nation of immigrants, that it's not going to happen. But we've been hearing stories before, in places like even London, that you go to a party, police can come there and say, everybody start showing your papers, things that we never hear about in America. But they've been doing it in Europe for years. There are countries that if you are illegal in their country, they jail you. Saudi Arabia will put you in jail if you are illegal there. They don't just deport you. We know about all of these things. So it doesn't serve our interest to go be fight. That's why we have pressure groups. That's why we have Lives Matter all over, organizations all over the place to do the fight for us. But for you and me, it is how do we navigate the system so that we are not a victim of this enforcement season. Our job, and I've told you many times, if you're an immigrant here, a first-generation immigrant, you don't want to get on social media and be bashing America. It's part of the reasons people are getting themselves in trouble now, because they've told you that they will check your social media. And if you have been denigrating America, then we will take your papers away. Then we will give you papers. They are not hiding about it, so why will you do it? I see a lot of immigrants. I've even seen one of my clients that was talking a lot of very negative stuff about America. And he doesn't even have work permit yet. I had to call him. Now, what are you doing? This is not your fight. Go delete all that stuff. Because when the time comes for us to show up for your papers, they are going to go back to those things. So we are in America now. So why? Here are 10 things I believe is making several of us. So let's get into it. Because one of the biggest misconceptions in immigration today is this. Someone will say, I have a valid visa, I have a work permit, I have a green card application pending, I have a case with immigration, so I don't need to worry. That's very wrong. Very, very wrong. Across America, like I said, legal immigrants are opening up their mailboxes, and I'm not talking illegal ones now. Legal immigrants are opening up their mailboxes and finding requests for evidence, notice of intention to deny, notices to appear, and other immigration notices they never expected in their life that they're going to have. Why? Because immigration is not a set and forget it process in America or anywhere. A valid status today does not guarantee a problem-free tomorrow. And you need to remember that. So I'm going to quickly give you 10 good reasons that legal immigrants, we know why illegal immigrants are getting notices to show for deportation cases. That's not what I'm talking about tonight. Tonight is about those who are legal, those who have green card, those who have citizenships, or those who have work permits. They are illegal in one form or the other. Maybe they are students, or they have an asylum application pending, or they have H-1B, or whatever. Those are the ones I'm addressing tonight. Like I've said, this show is not just about illegal immigrants. It's Immigrant Survivor Show with Dr. Ope Banwo. That's what we call it. So tonight's memo is really addressed more at those who, among us who think they are standing. And like the Bible says, let those who are standing beware lest they fall. I know it sounds like I'm preaching, but I am a pastor at the end of the day. So here are 10 reasons. 10 reasons legal immigrants are getting unexpected deportation notices in 2026. Number one, failure to maintain status. The fact that you are legal last year does not necessarily mean you are legal today. That's the number one thing, that the way I see it as an immigration lawyer. Many people focus on getting their status, but they forget that they must maintain it. It's like somebody who's in F1. You know you have to carry a full load, but then you decide you're not going to go to school for a semester, or you take one course, and you tell everybody I'm in F1. Many are finding out now, just by not carrying a full credit for a semester, you have already violated your F1 status. Even if immigration has not said anything yet, if they ever check and saw that last in the 2 semesters ago, you took only 4 credits instead of 12, they will revoke your F1 status. That's where you are now. That's why some people are stunned. Oh, I'm going to school now. I have 12 credits this time, or I have 16 credits. And they're receiving letter that their F1 has been invalidated, and they're asking what the heck happened. Only to find out that 2 years ago, they skip a semester without permission. That means they're not maintaining their status. Or you file for asylum, you say and based on that, they gave you a work permit. And then you that you're saying they want to kill you in your country, you enter plane to go and bury your grandmother in that same country. That means you are not maintaining the status you claim you want. Or you are an H-1B. You got that H-1B because somebody packed you in their company. They're not giving you a job. You're not going to the field to work. They're writing you check and you're giving them money back. Immigration is aware of all of this stuff. You're not maintaining your status because you're not working. So that is the number one reason why those who are legal are getting deportation notice, and there's so many of them. And there's a lot of fear in the place, but I'm saying you don't have to be afraid once you understand what is causing this. Number two reason why legal immigrants, those who already think they are standing and getting deportation notices, is job loss during a pending case. Losing a job can sometimes affect, especially employment-based immigration benefits, more than people realize. It's like what is happening with a renewal now. If you file for a renewal and that renewal is not approved before your current one expires, now you cannot work until they get it. Or maybe your employer withdraws or fires you because your job is tied to that status. So when you get your H-1B or H-3, EB-3, or whatever employment-based status you got, maybe O1, P1, all of that, the fact that you have not gotten your papers through that job does not mean you will maintain it. I've had that situation before, even when I was still pastoring. Somebody that will file papers to come and play music in the church. The minute he got his R visa, he disappeared from church, thinking that just by getting those papers that is valid for 2 years is good. No, it's not good. Because now he's lost his job, because his job, we cannot file returns for him. And then when they got him, they put him in deportation. It's what it is. So when you get a job that gave you paper, you will have to work hard to keep it, is what I'm saying. You don't just think that, oh, you are finished using the employer you can go get a better job, or you can go do whatever. No. If you lose that job, you lose your status. And immigration is all over it now, unlike before. They won't come for you unless maybe your employer is mean and writes them a letter and say that you have been fired. But now they are making employers file a return. Once they fire you, they have to submit that report now, or they get fined. The law has been there before. Donald Trump did not make it. Right? The law has been there for a very long time, but very few administration officers are enforcing it. But the Trump government is saying they want to enforce the law. So I don't know why anybody is demonizing them. If somebody wants to enforce a law that is there, that is good. It's called law and order, Abi. It's for you and I to make sure that we don't fall foul of the law. So when a company is gracious enough, it don't matter if it's your cousin. It doesn't matter if it's somebody that just tried to help you, like many of you or many of us. Let me not use the word you. We are all together. We're all immigrants. We do all these things. Now the person has helped you to get a job. Maybe that job he gave you, maybe they're not paying you as much as you will get in the market. But the minute you got that job and you got the work permit to go with it, now you go get a job that is paying you a lot more than what that guy is paying you, and you abandon him. Meanwhile, that new company is not giving you any new status. And then you get fired from the old one. Now, immigration will come looking for you. I'm not kidding. Once you lose your job, they give you a 60 days. Then you receive a letter in your mailbox. I have lots of clients now. That's how they got to deportation. Oh, my employer told me they're downsizing. I'm talking about people who work for Facebook, as big as Facebook. People who work for Twitter, big level companies like that, not to talk of minor ones. That they downsized us, and then I got a letter telling me to go back home. So that's number 2 reasons. And the reason why we are telling all this, like I said, this is for those who have legal status right now. You don't want to lose your job. That is the one that gave you that status. Because if you lose that job, you lose your status. I remember many years ago, like I told you, this law is not new. One of my brothers, okay, he's practically a brother in the real sense of it, even though we are not from the same parents, but he's my brother. He's a medical doctor. He's in Canada now. He was basically like a slave to he was doing this rural J1 waiver thing, whatever, with an employer in the rural area. So the doctor was really maltreating them. But we kept telling him, you have to just hang in there because you need this job to be able to keep your status. Thank God he got the citizenship eventually, and in fact, he decided to relocate to Canada with his wife. So this thing did not start today. You have to understand that your job or your status is tied to that employer. If the employer is mean, try to manage him. If the employer is wicked, try to manage him at least until you get a new job. But these days, the youths of these days, they don't have that patience. No, you have to. Because this one I'm talking about, this is my brother that's a medical doctor. I'm talking about maybe 20-something years ago. So this thing is not new. They are just enforcing it a lot more now. So that's the second reason perfectly legal people are now getting into deportation case, and you want to make sure that is not your portion. Don't just say it in church. Package yourself so that will not be your portion. Okay? Number 3 reason why legal aliens or immigrants, I don't like the word aliens, legal immigrants are getting deportation notices, inconsistencies in prior filings. That used to be something nobody would think about anymore. Once you got your green card or you get your citizenship, it's all over. But not under this administration. What you told immigration 5 years ago may be compared to what you are telling them today. Immigration has a long memory now. I'm sure you have heard the rumors that they have merged all their database, and it is true. People are saying the Elon Musk that did it. I don't know if it's him, but they have merged their database now. When they punch your name, everywhere that your name has come up in America is coming up. So if you have said you are not, some people who say they are not married, or in one document, but in another document they are married, all of those inconsistencies are popping up on immigration systems. And when they pop up, they're coming for you. That's why I always tell clients when they come in that, listen, I can't even file anything for you until I see the copy of what is in your file. That you first have to pay for us to go do a freedom of information to get everything in your file, or go get it yourself. Some of them think, oh, he's just trying to collect more money. No. The idea is that you don't want me filing anything for you that will be inconsistent with what you have filed for yourself or somebody filed for you years ago. And I see lots of people on this one, especially. Because in those days, some people will get immigration consultant or a notarial to complete the paperwork for them. They don't even know what is in the paper. I've seen somebody who filed asylum, got a letter to come for interview. I'm saying, what is your asylum about? He doesn't even remember. He doesn't even have a copy of the asylum that he filed when he first came. And I'm like, we can't even file a new one for you until we see what is there. Because if we are inconsistent, then you're going down. So if you're out there and you have your papers, what this means for you is that you need to be more careful with your documentation, keeping accurate records. Again, we are talking about those who have papers. Those who are illegal know why they are put in deportation. We don't need to be talking about that one. All right? But you are legal, you have a green card, or you have a citizenship passport. Imagine those 17 people who already have blue passports that are now putting in proceedings to remove to take the pali from them, to take the passport from them, and even take their green card and send them all the way back because of inconsistency, some of them. Immigration has a long memory now. That's what you need to remember. So for many of us, how do you avoid being a victim here? Personally, I would say what we should do is start quietly looking for your records. I would not suggest go and file a request for evidence to get your documents now. That could also trigger. Because while they are making photocopy, they were like, what? So it means you want to go back to the person that filed that paper for you. You want to search your house for all those stuff that you have there. Start putting them together. And where you have been putting inconsistent, you have had inconsistent information, you want to quietly start changing them. Because they have a task force that is doing this now. True. People who have no contact with them, they're in their house, they're just receiving, some of them are receiving notices. And what is now notice say, you didn't have a child when you first filed. Now all of a sudden, 5 years after you filed, they're seeing that you have 12-year-old children. Can your child grow faster than normal age? Or that you are not married? And then later, they are seeing a documentation from somebody who's your wife or husband that predated the time that you had said you are not married. So you have to tidy up. And that inconsistency is one of the reasons. So know that and begin to apply that to make sure you are not a victim of this. If you are watching this show now, please help us share this with your friends. This is Immigrant Survivor Show with Dr. Ope Banwo. And remember, this show is not just about those who are illegal or who are looking for papers. It's also about those who already have papers, how they will maintain their papers. So share the link with your friends that are in America or who are planning to come. Every one of us can learn from this show on a daily basis. All right, let's go to number 4 reason why legal immigrants are getting deportation hearings now. Criminal arrest. This should make all of us sit up properly. Those who have criminal arrests or charges. Even when charges are reduced, dismissed, or resolved, immigration consequences may still exist. This is where many of us who are older want to start talking to our children more, especially if they just got their green card or they got if they were not born here. Now, if they are first-generation immigrants, we want to be talking to them seriously. This is no longer a joke. DUI is one of the number 1 reasons they are using to take people's green card away now. Because having 2 DUI is considered, even 1 is considered crime involving moral turpitude. Meaning that you don't have good, because somebody who have good morals does not go and get drunk now. But that's what youths do. 20-year-old kids, 23-year-old kids, that's what they do. I was one of those lucky ones, and I'm not saying because I'm more morally better. I just don't have head for drinking. I can't remember if I was ever drunk in my life because I had a mentor who was drunk once, and that really, really scared me. So I'm very, very conscious how I drink. But most youths between the age of 18 and 25, they will get drunk one weekend or the other. They will enjoy themselves. You need to talk to your children. From there, everything can fall apart. I've seen enough of it. It's not even funny. Okay? Or fighting, or stealing, or shoplifting. Basic stuff like that, that people, maybe they will just fine you or give you a warning and let you go. No. Even, let's say you do shoplifting, which is one of the worst now. You do shoplifting because nobody can say the person that did shoplifting has good moral character. Obviously, you don't. But shoplifting, like maybe you took a Coke that doesn't belong to you in the store or whatever. If they charge you, even if they dismiss the case, you need to listen to this. Immigration can still use that to deport you. They will look into the circumstance of the case. What did you say when they arrested? If you, let's say you admitted or there's some evidence to show that you actually did it, but maybe they didn't have enough to get you convicted, or maybe the owner of the place decided not to press charges, but you did it, they will still take your green card. It's sounding crazy, but it's happening every day. Criminal arrest or charges. Now, is it fair for them to expect immigrants to have operate at a very much higher level than those who are born here? It may not sound fair to you, but you are the one that want to be part of their country. So if their own children can get drunk and all they'll do is serve their 7 days in jail or 14 days in jail and go home. I've seen clients with 17 DUI arrests. I'm not kidding. 17. I'm like, do you just go and get drunk every night, then you go and be driving home? Kilonshia, what is wrong with you? But the one that is born here, at Paragata, at one point, the judge will give him 30 days to go and cool off. They will suspend his driver's license. But if you're an immigrant, you're going down. You get 2, you're going down. It don't matter. They can use it to revoke your green card. They are using it. And if you had those convictions before you became a citizen, they can charge you, especially if you didn't disclose it. At the time you are getting your green card, they will say you got your green card by fraud because you did not disclose that DUI you got at 19. You are 31 now, 12 years after. You are 40 now, 29 years after. But you did not talk about that DUI arrest that you got in 2010. Now they say because you didn't disclose it, you got your green card by fraud. Therefore, your green card that became citizenship is also fraudulent. So they charge you and they take away everything. 17, go read their cases. You will just be shaking, what the heck is going on here? So criminal charges or arrest is one of the big ways that those who are legal begin to are facing themselves in deportation proceedings. That's the reason some people don't drive anymore, even those who have legal papers. Because they can pull you over for speeding, they run your ticket. By the time they run it, they see that as a prior arrest for DUI or whatever, that you have even served, or maybe domestic violence, something that you have forgotten. And if you happen to be in the wrong state, immigration can be invited right there, and the next thing you know, ordinary speeding 10 miles per hour above speed limit, now you're explaining to your folks back home why you got deported because you are over driving. It sounds nasty. So many immigrants are taking precaution. Okay, I will not cuckoo drive. And I don't blame them. You know why? Because one little thing, if you don't even hit somebody, somebody can hit you. If somebody hits you, police comes there. You have to show your papers now, especially if you are not living in a sanctuary state. And from showing paper, Wahala starts from there. So you don't want to get arrested, is what I'm saying. If you're in a place where all of a sudden they start to argue, the detail looks like it's getting out of hand, you need to leave that place. You need to tidy up your personal lifestyle. I know it's not fair. They are expecting us to live better life than their citizens. That's their call. It's like them saying when they call people for interview, they do stock interview and they say, they ask your wife, what shoe did you wear yesterday? and your wife is supposed to remember, or what did you wear on Monday? If they were to do that for citizens, yeah, 90% of them would not pass. Because if you ask me now, what did my wife wear or the day we went for my daughter's graduation, I don't even remember the color. Why would I remember the color? But they expect to remember color, to remember what the dress looks like. It's an unfair system. And I say that all the time. When you go for these things, take it easy. I'll tell my clients, don't try to lie or to try to make it up. By the way, for those of you who might be listening to this right there, that's one of the secrets of passing the interviews, especially if you are doing through married to a U.S. citizen. If they say, ask you a question, you are not sure the answer your spouse will give, tell them you don't know. Don't try to guess it. They cannot say you contradicted yourself if you say you don't know. But if it is white and you say it is red, even though most American marriages will say the same thing, they can take away your papers for that. But let's stay with where we are. Criminal arrest and charges. As an immigrant, and I'm not talking tonight to illegal aliens, those ones should know better. If you don't have papers at all and you want to go be committing crime, whatever your eyes see, your eyes sees it. Even me, I'm not sympathetic. Seriously, I'm a law and order guy. Okay? But you have papers, and you think you can behave anyhow now, be throwing lavish parties and be spending money, making FBI to go and investigate you. That's when they will then find out that you have not been paying the correct taxes. You are going home. Even your citizenship, they are going to collect. So you need to behave, all of us, including me. Even me as a lawyer, I am conscious of some things I'm doing, even though I have citizenship. Can't go be fighting anywhere. I can't go be getting upset and to the point the thing gets violent or they call police or whatever, because it's something different people are discussing. The next thing you know, immigration people that have a quota about the number of people to deport every month, they put their nose inside the matter. Or you guys think this is a joke? There's a reason they call some states sanctuary cities. I have to do a rant on that one day. Jolomi remind me to do why sanctuary city might be the last hope for the immigrants in America. If you don't live in a sanctuary city, you better behave yourself. Pay your landlord on time if you owe money. Landlords are calling immigration. I'm not joking. I'm seeing these things. I'm hearing it. Landlords, your music is too loud in your house, and you sound foreign. You sound like you're from Croatia, or you are from Ijebu-Mushin, or you sound like you are from Kenya. They will call police. As police is coming, immigration is right behind them. Things that you hear about in London of 20 years ago, it's happening here now. You don't want to do that. You don't need to do that. Lower the music in your house. Don't go to a party that is rowdy where they are spraying money that will make everybody, for them to come and be taking a picture of people's plate numbers. They're doing it. And you check your plate number from there, problem starts. So that is a big one, because most criminal arrests now is automatic return to sender. Even some where you are not found guilty, that's the part that is crazy. And by the way, with all due respect to, I'm not here to support or fight anybody in government. My job is to suck up to government so that I can get you your papers. So don't come and be telling me what is Ope doing here. But the point is, that law was not passed by Donald Trump. By the way, it's always been there. Donald Trump has not passed one law. One. I know some of you won't believe me when he has not passed one immigration law, even though, of course, he has done a lot of executive orders that lapses. I get that. What he's doing is that laws that even the other governments have forgotten. The man went to bring the OT out and said, today, we must implement everything. So stay away from it. This one they are talking about, I think, was passed in the Biden era, if I remember well. That even if the charges against you are dismissed, immigration can still use it, and that's not American. But hey, I've said I don't want to go political. What they are saying here is that you know what the law is. That's what their law is. Whether you agree or not, let's argue that one on WhatsApp. The point is they've told you, if you get arrested for shoplifting, even if you are not convicted, we can take away your green card. Then don't get arrested for shoplifting. Put your hand in your pocket. All right? Number 5, reason why a lot of legal aliens are getting deportation cases now is that missed immigration appointment. This applies a lot to those, maybe they have work permit or they have temporary green card, and so they are feeling cool. Now they have papers and they miss appointments. And they include miss biometrics appointment to come and do fingerprints. Interview, miss interview, or court hearing. You make a court hearing, you create problems for yourself that don't need to exist. I've had clients who are telling me, should I run away? They are supposed to come to court. I'm like, no, why will you run? If you run, then you can never, ever become an American again. And the day they catch you, you are going to stay in jail until your case. But if you are going to court, nothing's going to happen to you. These things are not that scary. I still spent 3 days ago, I had a client, I spent time convincing her that, no, don't worry about this thing. That the first day you get to court step, you're not even going to talk to the judge. The judge has no business with you. He's going to talk to your lawyer. The second, third, fourth time, there's nothing, no giri-giri. Now, when you lose case, finally, you also can appeal. So you don't want to miss your court. You don't want to miss your fingerprint. I also had a client, of course, I can't mention their name, but I'm just telling these scenarios so that everybody listening can learn from this. Last year, I had a client in Omaha. I was still in Omaha then. This client filed asylum. Her husband brought her from Africa, and she's now staying with the relatives of her husband. Everything good. But you know how these quarrels always start between wife and relatives and all that stuff. So we filed asylum for her before she was even 1 year old, so she was fully on top of things. Unfortunately, they invited her. They sent a letter for fingerprints. Because they were quarreling, they didn't give it to her. She got a letter to attend interview. She didn't get it because we use our house direct to get our stuff, and because of the way it was gone, I didn't want the thing to come to me, or rather we didn't discuss that, which I would have gladly accepted for it to go to their lawyer. 3 notices, they were even nice. So when I checked the system and I realized that they said she didn't come for interview the first, I called her and said, why did you not go? She said she was not aware. So I wrote a letter to immigration explaining that she didn't get the notice, they should reschedule it. And we reconfirmed her address. And that I don't think she has figured out that it's somebody in the house who is not releasing the document. They sent another notice. Again, she did not show. At that point, what did they do? They put her in deportation. Missed appointment. Now, I'm no longer representing her, but my point is something as simple as that. And because she missed the appointment before the 180 days has expired, she didn't even get work permit. And she's going to 2 years now. Because if you miss an appointment, they're going to stop the clock. So if you miss an appointment before your asylum is 180 days old, 150 days, you don't get work permit until you show up. And they have that hearing until you show up and they have that hearing. And because they've not had that hearing, the hearing is not going to go happen in court. No work permit. Was really a sad case. So missed immigration appointments is especially those in the transition period. Obviously, those who have citizenship don't do any appointments. But from green card down, if you have an appointment with immigration, you got to show. You can't miss it. Because the rules are clear. Once you miss your appointment, they can refer your case to the judge. Finish. Or they deny the application that you filed and you start afresh. And if you are not lucky, the officer just refer the matter to the court. Another popular way now that people are getting deportation cases, failure to update your address. This is very common and it is tragic for many people. The rules have also been there for a very long time. When you move, you have to update your address. It sounds simple. Most immigrants don't even hire lawyers to do that. And There's no reason to do that before. But if I were you today now, and I'm not saying call me, of course, I'll be happy to represent you to help you do your proper change of address. But if you don't want to pay Banwo law, better go find another law somewhere that will help you. You know why? Because it's not just as simple as sending your change of address to immigration now. Like some are finding out. If you are filing asylum, for instance, you send your change of address to the asylum office, you send to immigration office, and you also send to the place where they are cutting your work permit. There are 3 different places. So if you deal on only one place, your work permit may never come. You will just be wondering, what happened to my work permit? What did I do? I see some people, they've not got their work permit in 9 months. They received letter saying that they have been approved, but there is no work permit. Some, that is what happened with them. So now imagine if it was an interview that they sent and you have changed your address, they are going to send it to the address on record. And if you have moved, you're not going to get it. And immigration notices are put not to be forwarded. I hope people are listening. I hope you guys are listening to me right now. They will not forward it. No matter how you move, you now say you do this forwarding in post office for them to forward it to you. They are not to be forwarded. So they're going to send it right back to immigration. And under this enforcement season, the next thing they're going to do is they deny your case, whatever the case is, whether it's even married to American citizen, they don't care. They deny it, they send it to judge. You're going to be dealing with that wahala right there. To judge means that you're on your way to road 1, as they say in Ife that time. That means they're about to deport you. Failure to update your address is not a joke. And don't use address where your enemies are living. I'm not joking about this stuff. People can collect their documents and they tear it. It's happening. Now, those who are doing asylum, and I know a lot of immigrants come from countries where there's a lot of fear, and it's like Nigeria of today. Many people from there legitimately, because there's too much violence everywhere. Especially if you are politically inclined, or you have been talking about politics, or you are religious. There's a lot of fear of persecution going on there. So you file, you know that at least you have a credible opportunity to defend your case, why you don't want to go back to Nigeria, for instance, and they give you work permit. But then you move and you don't notify them. Some people do it deliberately. And if you're one of those guys doing that, I'm telling you, you're just ruining your own case. They will deliberately put a wrong address because they are saying they don't want immigration to know their house. So they'll go and put address or PO box or address of a friend, somebody they really that they're not close with, but who agrees to use their address. And then maybe they quarrel. And that one start tearing letters. Or maybe that one self is afraid of immigration now. When letter comes and say, I don't know that person, before he come and use his own or her own to come and cover me. You don't want to do that. You got to do it full chest. Because contrary to what many think, if you came here with a visa, even if your visa has expired, immigration generally will not lock you up. Even if they arrest you, they will give you bond. You pay bond. It is only if you came in illegal, like many people from the Latin American countries who didn't have a visa when they came. Those are the ones that immigration is saying, we are not going to give bond now. So there is no reason to be afraid from receiving documentation from immigration. The fact that they wrote you a letter is even courtesy that, okay, they are already telling you they are not planning to come for you. If they want to come for you, they know where you are. So don't go give a fake address. You're only hurting yourself. That is one of the reasons a lot of legal immigrants are facing all of this. Another point I want to mention as I begin to bring this thing to a close so that we can get to the developments for today. Increased security screening. We all know that. While Donald Trump has not made new laws, he has heightened everyone. He has taken everyone to a whole new, to the maximum level. It's like maybe immigration law is 1 to 10 before. Most regimes, they operate it at the number 4 level, number 3, number 4, maybe number 5. The Trump administration is taking to number 10, everything. They are throwing the book at all of us. They don't care. So now they are doing increased screening. Why? Because the database has become much better than before. According to rumors, thank Elon Musk. Even though I like the guy, he's an immigrant like us, and he's the richest man in the world. In fact, I have his picture somewhere in my office. People told me to put it down, to pull it down immediately. That what? I'm not as an immigrant. Because I have this thing, all of fame that I'm doing for the biggest immigrants to ever come to America. And one of my clients said, like, why are you putting Elon Musk in your office? They don't like the guy. But I don't know. I don't know what Elon Musk has to do with all of this. But the point is, the database is now sharper than ever. Before, when they put your name on the system, let's say you did something with the state of Georgia, the only thing will bring out is record that you have in Georgia. They have to do something more for them to do what is called global checking. They have to even pay money to be able to do national checking for you. But now, if they put your name or your date of birth or your fingerprint, all your information across the nation shows up at the point of entry at many of the non-sanctuary city-states. So there's increased security screening that is causing this thing. As once you know that information is being cross-checked at levels we have not seen in previous years for many reasons. Of course, because of terrorism, and also because Donald Trump has made it clear. It's nothing you can quarrel with him all you want. The man said he wants to get rid of bad immigrants. He said that. And the only way he's going to do that, check records, check records, check records. So what you want to do then is that you know there's increased screening. You govern yourself accordingly. I'm talking about those of you who have papers. Take, for instance, you have domestic violence case. 15 years ago, they dismissed the charge when it was not being strictly applied. And then you have green card, and then you have citizenship. And you decide to be traveling anyhow, travel that you really don't need to go. I tell people, yeah, it's not about them not making you want to go out as a citizen. Bad things can happen when they put out your fingerprint there. So now imagine at the point of whatever, they single you out. And they do it at random. And then they say, do fingerprint, boom. They do put your fingerprint there, and then Elon Musk thing start to go crazy. That this one had domestic violence 20 years ago. You got your green card 10 years ago. Understand this thing. You have American passport in your hand, and now you're an American citizen. What Trump is telling you, or what the administration is telling you, is that if you did not disclose that domestic violence case, whether you are found guilty or not, that means you are not qualified to get your green card when you got it, because that is one of the elements to get your green card, that you have good moral character. And you are supposed to disclose everything about you, even if they're going to discount it. Let's say you said that you disclosed that there was domestic violence problem, but that my wife didn't press charges, or my wife lied against me, whatever your story is, and then the officer can look at all of that and still give you a green card. Now, if that comes up later, they will not going to use it to take your citizenship because you disclosed it. But you didn't talk about it because you are not found guilty. Maybe you just stayed in jail overnight, or maybe police just told you leave the house for your wife or whatever, but there's a record and they've taken your fingerprint. So the officer from there sees that this thing happened in 2010 and you got your green card in 2015. Now he clicks another button and he sees that that record was not disclosed in your green card interview. You are screwed right there. Now they can then take you and try to take away your citizenship on the ground that you did fraud when you got your green card. It's as simple. I know I'm making it sound simplistic, but it's as simple as that. When they say you committed fraud in getting your green card, it doesn't mean that you did something terrible, crazy, because when we have fraud, many of us are thinking something very bad. It's like either you lied or you didn't disclose a material fact. Boom. So my point is that there's increased security screening. Every one of us should be aware of that and govern yourself accordingly. If there's some trip, if you know you have a bad past, all of us have a past. There's nobody. Some are just cleaner than the other. You know you have a past that can be an issue, especially if you have something to do with what is called something involving moral turpitude or aggravated felony. Aggravated felony does not mean you are a very bad guy. It simply means that that offense that you committed has more than 1 year jail sentence attached to it and one or two other things. So if you have that, then you govern yourself. It's not everywhere you'll not be traveling anyhow. If you don't have to travel, you don't travel. This is a season of enforcement. Don't be saying, oh, I have a right to travel. That your right to travel may be your right to go back home. Just being now, I'm talking citizen, though, not to not talk about the green card you have, or you don't even have any. Even green card said you don't get. And then you are going to party and they are spraying anyhow where you know you have record. You say you want to go and rock in Rhode Island. Yabo is doing a very great party in Rhode Island, must be there. You enter plane to go to Yabo's party, they hold you. All of a sudden, they know that you are Korofo, there is nothing, you don't have anything. From there, you enter Lagos or Kenya or wherever you're coming from. So, again, for tonight, for those of us who are watching from home, this talk, this memo of today is focused on more on the reasons why legal immigrants are getting put in deportation proceedings. It's unprecedented, the level of it that we are seeing. And this is why. That's what I'm sharing. Number 7. Number 8. I got it. Yes, thank you, Grace. I did see. I just saw your notes. I remember Instagram. Okay, double check for me that it is working. We should be live on Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn and I think I don't know if Twitter. Yeah, I think I see Twitter there. All right. Another reason why perfectly legal, I'm talking about those who have work permit, they're here legally, or have green card, or have citizenship. Those are the ones we are talking about tonight. Another reason why many of them are facing deportation now is not because Donald Trump hates them, it's because under the new rules or under the enhanced rules, all the immigration issues are resurfacing, like past overstays, past misrepresentations, past violations. You see that I'm using the word past. These have gone on, some of them 10 years, some of them 20 years. Things people assume were forgotten begin to reappear. And that is why even lawyers have to be more alert. And some unscrupulous lawyers, because they want to get their money, they will fight some stuff for you. In the last 2-3 weeks that we opened this office, I've had several clients that have actually said, don't file anything, even though it means that I'm not collecting any money. You know why? I know that if I file, I'm exposing them to risk. I have somebody who had a conviction of something minor shoplifting when she was like 20, 21. Who does it? Most kids at that age, they don't even think. Not to go and it's not armed robbery or maybe carry candy on the shelf. And it became a problem, right? That happened in the 80s. Do you hear me? Like 40 years ago. She has a green card now. And she was trying to apply for citizenship. I told her, no, don't apply for citizenship. Just be renewing. When you are renewing, they don't tell you to do fingerprint. They don't renew your 10-year for you, JJ. As long as you apply before it is expired, there's no scrutiny. But when you apply for citizenship, you are now required to disclose every conviction in your past. Now, normally, for citizenship, they're supposed to look at your good moral character in the last 5 years. That's what they're supposed to look at. Or even 3 years if you are getting your citizenship through marriage to a U.S. citizen. But what they are doing now is that when you do that fingerprint and that record of 40-something years ago shows up, then they will cross-reference it to your green card. Did you disclose it when you filed that your green card? Kasala boss from there. Or even if you disclosed it, they will tell you that some of them, let's say you had made a claim, use somebody's social security number. to claim you're a U.S. citizen. And this is also something, hey, people have to do what they have to do. So let me give you a little tip here. Those of you are doing, I'm not encouraging you to go and do anything illegal. But one thing you cannot claim, I don't care what you do, don't tell anybody you're a U.S. citizen. Even if the pal in your hand is a U.S. citizen one, tell them you don't know who owns it. There is still penalty for that, for using somebody's social security number. But there's a way you can get a waiver to still get your green card. But if you claim you're a U.S. citizen, permanent bar, back there, forever. No American citizen for you. It's a permanent bar. You know, to those who don't know better, you think that once you claim U.S. citizen, they won't touch you. If they go and touch you and realize that you lied, you're screwed. So let's say somebody worked with a U.S. citizen social security number, and when he was filling the form, he also put, they will ask whether you're a U.S. citizen, permanent resident, or just work permit. If she had only ticked work permit, or maybe ticked permanent resident, even if the card was a U.S. citizen one, there's still a way out of that one because she didn't claim she's a U.S. citizen. But if she tick U.S. citizen, then you are permanently barred from ever getting green card, right? But let's now say she didn't disclose that. Or maybe that came up and the officer just decided they are not going to look at it, blah, blah, blah. But then you find yourself with immigration now, and that issue comes up. They can come back and invalidate your citizenship. Collect your blue card first, then drag your green card with you. And once they take that one, it's road 1 or whatever road to Atlanta you are going. So all issues, especially issues that has to do with what we call a crime involving moral turpitude, domestic violence is one of the top 3. So don't beat your wife. Don't quarrel with your husband. Don't quarrel. If Wala is coming, just carry your bag and go. Because those things will screw you up so bad that you'll be like, ordinary shouting at ourselves. So all the immigration issues are coming up, and now you are seeing people who are who have a perfect papers, either green card or citizenship, where all of a sudden you are hearing that they are now in deportation court, and you are wondering what are they doing there. That's why. Number 9 reason, travel issues, or I call that travel complications for travel outside the U.S. and within U.S. Because before, travel within U.S. didn't used to be a problem. But travel within U.S. also is a big deal now. Why? I told you that before. Let's talk the international one first. International travel can create unexpected immigration issues involving visas, parole, prior entries, status questions. I have had a client in Omaha who has a green card. But when she was coming back in, the officer punched her name inside the stuff and then started talking about the domestic violence issue they had 12 years ago. Right there and then, they kept her there. She was even detained, lady. We got her on bond after a week, but we had to go to immigration. Luckily for her, even they could not get the record, they could not get the details anymore. It was so long ago. The thing, they got the record out that there was a domestic violence issue, but she's saying there is no domestic violence. She didn't admit to any of the facts because the record has been redacted from there's some states, they delete all their the details of their records after 15 years, some after 20 years. It will be there that the person was convicted, but the record has been deleted. So eventually we're able to use technical argument to get the case dismissed against her. But that's how she will have lost her green card. I've heard of case that one never became my client, but I've heard of the story. This person first came as a visitor and overstayed by more than 1 year. Somehow, he went back home because remember at that time, they don't check your leaving America. There is no record of when you left, especially if you don't send it, because then they give us R94, one white card like this that they staple on your passport. When you are leaving the country, you are supposed to drop it with immigration. But immigration don't ask. Many times you get back home. In fact, many times I used to come there. The white card is still on my card. So those who overstay, they just tear it. And when you are going, nobody is checked. So they don't really know the time you left. So you can come back. Maybe you get another visa or come back as a student or whatever. No wahala. But this lady, when she came and overstayed, she had a baby. In fact, 2. She overstayed like about 4 years, and then she left on her own. They didn't even know she left. At that point, there was still no, the I-94 is still there. So when she was coming back, she went home to go and bury somebody. So she was coming back with those 2 kids. Now they're looking at the kids. This lady is American citizen at that time. You have to understand these things. Okay? All of a sudden, the officer is asking. Before, they don't normally ask US citizen any question. They don't normally ask, but now they can ask. They say they can do whatever they want. Now the question is, you have been in America before, you got your green card. I say yes. You came as a visitor, yes. But how did you have this Omolola that is 14 years? And then there's another one that is 11. Because you got your green card when they were 18. From there, Bala Blue started. Like a joke. Now they are saying that at the time she got her green card, she was statutorily barred because she was illegal for more than a year. Based on the discussion there, where they found out that she was here for more than a year, she was here for like 2-3 years to have those babies, and then she left back on her own and got another visa to come. And then from there, she got her green card. From there, she got her citizenship and thought everything was cool. By the time the officer started asking the questions, he was not able to establish that when he came sometime in the 80s, he overstayed by more than a year. Then went outside the country, remember? And then came back with another visa several times, not even one time, several times with different visa. The officer was now saying as at the time she came and went through the process of getting the green card, she was ineligible to get a green card, because if you have been illegal for more than a year and you go outside the country, you are not supposed to come back for 10 years unless you get a waiver. If it is less than a year and you go out, you cannot come back for 3 years unless you get a waiver. She went out for less than a year and came back without a waiver because she has a multiple, she got a new visa. That time they used to do drop box to get your renewal. Like 4 years after she had come and whatever. Like a joke. They've taken the green card as we are talking. Sorry, they've taken the citizenship. The green card is about to follow. Why? They said, as at the time you got the green card, you were not eligible to get it. So everything that comes after does not stand because you didn't disclose that you were illegally here for more than 2 years. Who would disclose that now? At least at that time. If it is now, I will tell my client to disclose it. You will get away with it if you disclose. You disclose and file a waiver. And when they see that it's not a serious killing like that, they typically will waive that. Even if they're not going to waive it, it's better for you to go and fight your matter in courts. Most courts will not penalize you over that. They made the decision. But the fact that you did not disclose is the issue. So, my point, if you have papers, because remember, we are not even talking about those who don't have papers right now. Okay? We're talking about those who have papers. And you know there's some color B in your past that God has helped you to cover up because you pray very well. You are a redeemed person. They follow you to pray that prayer. It has worked. Don't tempt the devil. Don't travel if you don't have to travel. At least until the climate gets better. It's not going to be like this forever. At some point, another administration may come in and decide that they don't want to focus so much on immigration. I'm not saying what Trump is doing is bad or not bad. That's his focus. That's what he said he would do. His people voted for him. Good luck to everybody. But you don't want to go tempt the devil here. I will end this part because these stories matter, especially for those who think they are standing before they fall. By the way, if you are just joining the topic we are discussing tonight, is my memo of the day. And I've told you my memos are not just about those who don't have papers. This one is about those who have papers and who are losing it at record levels. It's crazy how many people are losing their green card and citizenship. I've been in America 31 years. In that 31 years before this year, maybe I've heard of 2 or 3 people who lost their citizenship. And those ones were over very, very, very serious issues. This month alone, I know about 10 that have been given one letter or the other to come and explain why they should not charge them to federal court. And I saw last week 17, I didn't know them, in the papers. So that's what we are discussing tonight. Going back to that, number 9. Is it number 8? Where is that? I like to put my points on the board just in case you are just joining us. We are talking about travel outside USA complications. One of the reasons why people are losing their status because that thing in your record 20 years ago, 30 years ago can be your downfall today. You might say it's not fair, but you already know that's what's going to happen. We had a client. All right, not me actually. The person is actually, or had a story from somebody who came to consult with me, was telling me the story of what happened. No, it was my brother who was sharing that story with me about somebody right here in Dallas. His papers were being sorted. He had filed, I think it was EB1 or something, and he was waiting for the approval to come. The approval has not come. And then the wife died in Nigeria. He's an Igbo guy. The wife died. And then he insisted that he's going to go bury his wife, that nobody will bury his wife for him. That's why the fact that I have plenty of brothers and sisters that find that is their culture, that they begged him not to go. That at least apply for advanced parole on emergency. He applied, but they did not grant it quickly. It was going to, I think, like 4 or 5 weeks. The thing was not granted. He said he will sort it out. They will know that his wife. So he left while his paper was pending. Yeah, he buried his wife very well. That was 11 years ago. This is not even under Trump matter. 11 years is still in Nigeria and he can't come back. And we were discussing in the context that person that used to be somebody who's sending dollars to them in Nigeria, he's not driving cab in Lagos, not driving a cab. Because he didn't really have much to carry home. Maybe he didn't have good education. I don't know what the circumstance was. But when they saw him, and that's what generated the story, in Ibadan, driving kabu all over the place. The same family that is saying you must come and bury your family, they will have abandoned him by now because he doesn't have dollar to give them anymore. They will be the same people that will be looking down on him. He came to bury Yahoo. The wife is dead. It sounds insensitive. But if your wife is dead, she's not going to wake up. You're going to go bury her. It's not going to help her. She's not even going to see that she's already dead. That is just to please the family. It's just to please yourself, which is stupid. Because at the end of the day, everybody loses. If he's here, the $100, $200 that he's sending home, some people are going to benefit from that. He cannot do that anymore, even he himself. That was a real tragic case. And I wanted to also tell it tonight so that people understand. There are some things that if you don't have to do, don't use a boju and go and do it. Traveling, that is the one for outside the country. I've also talked about within the country. Because that one never used to be there, but now you have seen it in the papers. They didn't lie. They said they are going to do it. They are not lying to you. One thing anybody can say about Donald Trump is that he has never hidden what he wants to do. He was saying it before he got elected. After he got elected, he's the only man I know that is at war that is saying, I'm going to bomb Iran in the evening. Other people don't announce what they're going to do. Donald Trump's man cannot close. He will tell you what he will do to you tomorrow morning. So you that they have told, should you not get wise and go and make sure that you hide under the grass or something? They said they will heighten restrictions, investigations at the local airports. They said it before they started. Because we know a lot of illegal immigrants who have criminal records, that's who they tell you they're looking for there. They fly and want to catch them there. But you that your criminal record is not really criminal like a criminal, but you know there is something there, why are you flying and you have no papers? Or you have papers, that's your issue. You never disclosed it before you got your green card. It's not as if you disclosed it and the officer decided to waive it. In that case, you are cool. They're not going to do anything to you. You fill the form, yes, I beat my wife. By the time you guys are now talking, the officer look at the situation and say, okay, don't beat her again tomorrow. We'll let you go this time. And they gave you your green card. If that one came up later, they can't use it to take your green card because you disclosed it. But you know you didn't disclose your own. You know you have DUI twice, 3 times. But God help you. You didn't talk about it. At that time, they don't have record to see that you had the DUI. You got your green card or you got your citizenship and you're running up and down. You're a champion. You want to go and spray in Dallas. No. Cover yourself accordingly. That would be my advice as a Rottweiler. You don't need a problem. When they already told you, it can be a problem. Number 10, why legal citizens, legal immigrants are getting into deportation cases is assuming a pending case protects you. This is one of the most dangerous assumptions in immigration law. When people believe that applying automatically shields them from arrest or from deportation, no. The Trump administration has revealed that that's not how the law works. Remember, they didn't pass any law, but every law that is out there, they are taking it to the extreme. We are all just realizing, including me, after 29 years as an immigration lawyer, that the fact that you have an asylum pending does not mean they cannot come and arrest you if you came into the country illegally. Remember what I said about those who came in legally and they don't go after those. If you came in legally, even if they arrest you, they will give you bond. You go and argue in court and the judge will give you bond. But you came across the border, you don't have visa. And you have filed asylum. Before, we thought that once you have filed something to try to regularize your paper, you are supposed to be immune from immigration arrest. Not anymore. They explained it, they've gone to court and said they can do that. That's actually in the rule somewhere. Maybe in the rule of 1980 that nobody is looking at. You cannot assume that because you have an application pending, they cannot arrest you, especially if you are illegal here. I mean, if you came in illegally. They are even arguing itself that if your status had expired, and let's say you now file for EB2 or EB1, and they come into contact with you, that they have a legal right to arrest you because the fact that you have filed does not legalize you. If you filed after your status had already expired, and I don't want to complicate this for you. Let's say you are allowed to stay here till June 30th, and you file an EB1 or EB2 or any status or F1, whatever, by June 15, before your status expires, then you are safe. Because that keeps you in status until they make a decision. But let's say your status is supposed to expire in June 30, and it expired. Your I-94 expired in June 30, but you then file a petition in July 18, either for asylum, for H1B, for EB1. They are saying at that point, you are illegal. And the fact that you file that paper does not make you, does not give you right to stay here. They won't deport you, but they are saying they have a right to arrest you and put you in jail until your case is finished. My partner in Omar is doing plenty of that right now. In fact, I think today he said he had like 4 of that. I was chatting with him this morning of cases like that. People whose status have expired, but maybe they're not married American citizens. In that period, you are not legal until they approve you. They can shakara you, they can arrest you, but you will get bond. Don't get me wrong, you'll be entitled to bond. But if you came in without papers, without any papers, even if you have the best case in the world, they're going to stay in jail until it's done. No bond. We've been dragging that. Lawyers everywhere have been dragging that for the last 3-4 months now. Some circuits have said they cannot do that, but some have said they can do that. So depending on where you live, and that is where that sanctuary city thing I said I'm going to talk about is important. Where you live in America now matters a lot. Some states where you are there, ordinary DUI, they will call immigration. Some states, even if you keep person, they will refuse to give immigration your details in this same America. So it's part of what a lot of smart immigrants are thinking about now, that maybe I need to migrate to a sanctuary city, at least while is going on, where the state protects you, no matter what is going on with you. Those are the ones that are called sanctuary cities, and we're going to talk about that, I'm sure, before this 30 days is over. That's it, people. Those are 10 reasons, and there could be more, plenty out there. I just wanted to keep it just to tell, because I like the number 10. Here's my advice to all of this. Don't put your immigration life on autopilot. Review your case. Book appointment with lawyers. It's only going to, most lawyers, even the most expensive, will charge you $250 for consultation, $300. I charge only $100. Some charge you maybe even less. Get a lawyer, go book an appointment, let them review your case. If you are not sure how something in your past can haunt you or do whatever, you may even have papers now, but you have some issues from what I've been discussing. Let them help you review it. Number 2, keep your documents organized. Number 3, update your records. Is the record, if your record is better now and you are not updating it, it is the old one. It's like me here in Dallas. I had to be making some calls to some organizations to update my credit record. Because credit that is supposed to have bad stuff that is supposed to have left it, maybe a late payment that happened 5 years ago, is still there when it's supposed to have dropped out 2 years ago. But because I didn't go and ask them, it's acting against me, when my record comes out, it's lower than what it should be. I have to start writing formal letters. I just got American Express to remove 2 of them. You got to update your record. Mine is got nothing to do with immigration, but just like in life, if you don't update your record, people will use your old records to deny you what you're entitled to. And when you're talking immigration, not updating your records can get you deported. You go down to jail before they realize that actually they are not supposed to be arrested. You've seen them deport American citizens. Some of them for the simple reason that they can't produce their passport when they ask. And you're telling me not to move around with my passport. I move with my passport, I move with my citizenship papers, and I'm an immigration lawyer. I'm not playing. I make photocopies of my citizenship. I make photocopy of even my green card of 20-something years ago. It's in my car, in my bag. And my passport day. You never know. I was pulled over 2 days ago. Because I'm not so used to this Dallas thing much, I was supposed to turn left. At the last minute, I saw that, okay, I'm supposed to turn right. And the light was yellow, just about to turn red. I said, let me just risk it. So as I pull light, unfortunately for me, the guy on the right, waiting for the light to change, is a policeman. So I basically ran the red light in front of a police officer. I just saw Charara behind me. I've not been pulled over in, I don't know, 7 years maybe. I'm in Nebraska. Nobody will pull me over. They know me. But nobody know me in Dallas. I'm just a boy on the street. Okay, where is your driver's license? Where is your... My insurance was not even in the car. That's to tell you how careless we can be. Because my insurance is with my wife's own and my daughter. So my wife is the one dealing with all of that. But since I knew that I screwed up, the minute it came, I was like, officer, I'm so sorry. I think I ran the red light. I was confused. I started to call like Ibaka right there. This is not the time you go and be arguing. I said, oh, sorry. I ran the red light. And the man was cool. He was calm when he saw that, okay, I wasn't ready to, I was not arguing. I was properly dressed. Be dressing well when you go out too. He told me that. that I like your tie. See, my tie said, come make and calm down small. And then he said, okay, where is your insurance? I started battling inside the car, no insurance. And I said, okay, let me call my wife. I'm sure she will have a copy. I had to call my wife in Nebraska to make a copy of that, to send me a screenshot. And he looked at it. He didn't even give me a ticket. He said, you are truthful with me. Just be more careful, blah, blah, blah. We end up discussing about the Dallas Cowboys and blah, blah. I don't know how that works. If you said, hey, we are right in front of the Dallas Cowboys Stadium. And then I threw it at him that, yeah, Dallas guy said, yeah, we talked for about another 10 minutes about Dallas Cowboys. And then he said, just said, be careful, blah, blah, blah. We should log. And then we shook hands and he left. He never gave me green card. He never gave me a ticket. He just said, be careful. My point is that could have triggered a lot of stuff. Ordinary, just doing that. What if I didn't have insurance? Then if you didn't have insurance, he has to book you. From booking, originally can happen. Or if he was impatient, because it took like maybe 15 minutes for my wife to finally send it. What if I had called my wife and she's not answering? Bad things can happen. So you need to put your papers together, update your records, keep your documents organized, especially if you're an immigrant who's not so solid yet. Pay attention to government notices. I like clients who are even aware before me as their lawyer is aware that there's a new update. I'm not upset about that. Many times my own clients are call me and say, did you hear immigration just did this? Because it's your life that is involved. Me, I'm just a lawyer. I try to keep up, but you that you know that is you, your life that is affected. You pay attention. I expect you to visit the immigration website as you wake up every morning. It's not a joke anymore. What exactly have they said today? What exactly is going on now? And the one that you need to call your lawyer about immediately, that lawyer, this is what I just heard. Is it true or not? Then let lawyer go and verify. So pay attention to government agencies. And when something doesn't make sense, you have to ask questions early from professionals, not immigration consultants, not notarios. Because in immigration law, small problems rarely stay small. And that is my memo for today. I know it's a very, very long memo. Deliberately, I wanted to spend a lot of time on that because today we are doing something exceptional. We are not, the memo is really not addressing illegal immigrants. It's addressing, and so it's a pure educational memo this evening, and I wanted to take my time in it. Hopefully, that benefits somebody somewhere. Hopefully, we all learn and stop taking things for granted. Thank you for still staying with me. We're going to take a short break. Don't go away. When we come back, we're going to be talking about immigration updates that happened in the last 24 to 48 hours and how it affects you, how it affects your American dream. In the meantime, I have a couple of videos where I even answer some of your questions. Don't go away. Enjoy. Here is part of my story, why I came to America. I did not come to America looking for opportunity. I came here running for my life. Soldiers were looking for me in Nigeria because I spoke out against a military dictator. But when I finally arrived in America, I was too afraid to even ask for help. See, in the early 1990s, Nigeria was under a military dictatorship led by one General Ibrahim Babangida, and I was a young lawyer and a pro-democracy activist speaking out against the regime. After organizing a national conference on the role of women in the promised Third Republic, a democracy that the dictator had promised but later reneged on, I was arrested and briefly jailed for about 10 days. When I was released, everything in my life practically began to collapse. My business, my peace of mind, my ability to live normally. Soldiers were looking for me. I lived every day wondering if I would be arrested again or maybe simply short, as many were. Or rather, just the opening part of my own American story. And you can you can watch the whole episode of that. My American story is about 25-30 minutes, telling my story about what I went through. And you can learn a lot from that, how I went from being scared to finally becoming an American citizen. Hopefully, it will inspire you for you to take action concerning your life. It's not as bad as you think it is. You just need to confront it. Someone just posted this question. I came to the US illegally, and I've been told there is no way to fix my papers without going back home. Is that correct? My short answer, as usual, sometimes yes, but not always. My name is Ope Banwo, and for over 29 years, I've been helping immigrants achieve their American dreams without the nightmares. See, entering the US without inspection creates a major immigration hurdle. And in many cases, it does not mean you cannot adjust status inside the US, but that is not the full story. There are situations where people may still have options to remain in the US while fixing their papers, or at least prepare properly before leaving the country to go get it at the embassy abroad. Let me give you a few real-life examples to clarify this. A scenario, someone who entered illegally but later married a US citizen may still have a path, but often requires consular processing and possibly a waiver before leaving. Another scenario, someone who qualifies under parole in place, what is called PIP, especially through a US military family member, may be able to adjust in the US without having to leave the country. Another scenario, possibly someone who is protected under certain humanitarian programs like VAWA or Use Visa or Asylum, may be able to move forward without departing the country. The key thing to note here is this: illegal entry makes the process harder, and that's the truth. But it does not always mean your only option is to live blindly. And living without a strategy can trigger serious bars that keep you out of America for years, if not forever. So before you pack your bags thinking that's your only solution, make sure you understand your options very clearly. Please book an appointment at speakwithope.com for us to have a strategy discussion about your situation. Let's talk today before your American immigration dream turns into a nightmare. He had 2 weeks left before deportation. 2 weeks. After 8 years in America, children in school, and a full life already built, everything was about to collapse. My name is Ope Banwo, and for over 29 years, I've been helping immigrants achieve their American dreams without the nightmares. So what was his mistake? He ignored immigration notices. He thought the problem would go away if he stayed quiet. But immigration of these days do not forget. They do not forget. When he finally called me, we moved quickly, reopened the case, rebuilt the strategy, and gave him a fighting chance to stay here. But had he waited a little longer, there might have been nothing left to fix. So if you received the notice, missed a court date, or feel your immigration case is getting out of control, please go now to speakwithope.com and book a strategy session. Let's help you sort it out like professionals before it is too late. Alrighty. Hope you learned one or two things from that. Now let's quickly go to the updates that came. I'm going to try to shorten that part today because we want to get to your questions. We've spent a lot of time today, but we abbreviated yesterday to only like 15 minutes. So if you spend a lot of time today, I think we're trying to make up. Here is now we're going to talk about some of the what I call immigration updates. What happened overnight or in the last couple of days? Because immigration right now is every time you wake up, the administration has done something else. One of the ones I want to talk to you about that came up in the last few hours We know he's been talking about it, but now the US government is now cracking down on bad tourism networks worldwide. I mean, the US Department just announced a major global crackdown on what we call bad tourism schemes, where foreign nationals travel to the US primarily to give birth so that their child can automatically acquire US citizenship. So according to the State Department, US embassies uncovered multiple organized networks operating across Africa, Europe, South Africa, North Africa. These networks used fraudulent documents, allegedly, visa consultants, and coaching services to help applicants obtain visitor visas under false pretenses. In fact, in one country, they got more than 100 people, from what the report is saying. Over 100 who are connected to bad tourism operation. They revoked their visas, and investigations are continuing. In Europe, US officials identified more than 400 suspected cases tied to 6 companies that allegedly coach applicants on how to pass visa interviews and arrange travel and delivery plans for them. In North Africa, more than 100 visas were revoked, and on and on. But why does this matter to you as an immigrant or an intending immigrant? See, many people mistakenly believe that obtaining a visitor visa and traveling to the US to give birth is a guaranteed pathway to future immigration benefits. Not anymore. The State Department is now making it clear that using a visitor visa primarily to come and give birth may be considered visa fraud if the true purpose of travel is concealed. America, so that I am clear, American laws are not against you having babies here. But that cannot be the reason you are coming. So if you know, you must understand that, you govern yourself accordingly. But now with this announcement, they're telling us that they're going to be looking at the B1, B2 visa applications thoroughly. Not somebody who's already pregnant for 4 or 5 months and start tying your stomach so that they won't see it at the point of entry. When you know that it's bad, you want to come and give. You need to package yourself better. Now they are doing more extensive review of your travel history and prior visa applications. Now they can use data analytics and to get most of your data. In spite of all of this, it's important to understand that the US Constitution still recognizes birthright citizenships for children born in the US unless the law changes through legislation or court action. I know that the administration is in court trying to get Supreme Court to end that practice, but Supreme Court has not yet ruled for him, and we don't think they're going to do that, but we don't know. But until that happens, right now, the law still allows it. You just have to package yourself very well. If you're applying for a visa, tell the truth. There's nothing wrong with saying, I want to come and give birth. You give them your reasons. Maybe you have complications and you need medical, whatever, but not saying, oh, I want to go and visit Disneyland. But what you want to come and do is have a baby. That's what they're talking about. You can't misrepresent your purpose for coming to America. Not that you can't come to America and have a baby. Very important distinction that you should discuss thoroughly with your lawyer before you come, if that is your goal. Another development that we found over the last few days is that President Trump has finally signed, I think this happened yesterday, he has signed the Secure America funding for DHS through the term. Before, finding money for the operations has been touch and go. Now he has been able to get an agreement and to get the funding throughout the rest of his administration. It's called the America Funding Secure America Act. So according to the administration, the funding will support key immigration and border enforcement agencies, including ICE, the dreaded ICE, US Immigration and Customs, the Customs and Border Protection, which is the CBP, the Citizenship and Immigration Services, which is the USCIS, Border Patrol, Immigration Detention and Removal Operations, and National Security and Border Initiatives. These are different departments under our security architecture in America. The administration is saying the goal is to strengthen immigration enforcement. They're not even making bones about it. Improve border security and provide law enforcement agencies with resources to carry out their mission. So this matters to you because now you know there will be increased immigration enforcement. There will be greater immigration vetting because they have the money, they have the resources to vet your background, to detect fraud, to do security screening. There's more resources for immigration now. Maybe some cases that are getting slow may even be speeded up. So immigration compliance will become more important as we move forward, especially individuals with pending applications, removal orders, or unresolved immigration matters should ensure that their records are current because those things may start moving faster than before and that you are responding promptly to government notices. That would be my advice to you, to go start getting ready, making sure you're cleaning up your record, making sure you have all the documentation you need. You are getting them because your cases may be moving faster than you anticipate with this new development. As I've always advised, keep copies of all your immigration filings and receipts. Update your address with immigration when required. Attend every immigration court hearing. When they send you a request for evidence, respond promptly to request for evidence. Seek legal advice if you have an unresolved immigration issue. Find the money. Avoid immigration fraud and unauthorized consultants. They can only put you in problem. But when government increases funding, it increases its capability, and you know what they want to do. Don't just focus on the announcements. Focus also on the practical impact of what you are hearing me say tonight. More agents, more investigations, more technology, and more enforcement resources is what you should be hearing me say. What are you going to do about that concerning your own case? The smartest immigrants are not the ones who panic. They are the ones who prepare. Yes, know your status. Keep your documents organized. Fix immigration problems before they become emergencies. If you have a pending case, an old removal order, a missed hearing, or unresolved status issue, now is the time to address them, not when immigration already is knocking on your door. So the Secure America Act signals the administration's commitment to sustained immigration enforcement. Like they say, Entomaku, let me speak my Yoruba language a little. I'm not speaking my language a lot now, even though I can barely speak it. The person that wants to kill somebody that wants to die is ready, is going to meet the person that wants to kill him. So you want to stay here, despite the fact that all the efforts are to take you out, then you should be prepared. You can't stay in your house eating the muero and thinking that the thing will just pass. You need to start taking precautions. Of course, I encourage you to talk to a lawyer. Of course, I nominate myself as the person of choice. Book your one-on-one consultation at speakwithope.com. Or if you don't want to book an appointment with me, find a lawyer that is near you or one that you trust. Book an appointment with them. Start taking control of your destiny. Don't wait for them to bring the word to your door before you start doing something. That is the immigration update for today. And when I come back, we are going to be taking your questions. Hopefully, you have been putting them on the threads. We have several of you that have put questions out there. We are going to be taking them. Of course, I like to take these questions and also use it as opportunity to educate those who may have similar cases so that you may not even have to go consult a lawyer to at least have an idea where you are at concerning your situation. And during these next 30 days, we are now on day 12, we want to come out every day and be a blessing to the immigrant community nationally and abroad by spending 2-3 hours every day answering your questions, encouraging you, sharing ideas with you, about how to become better immigrants as part of our official launch of our Dallas Arlington office that just opened this month. After 29 years in Nebraska, we're expanding globally or nationally, and our first outside office is Arlington. So this is part of our launch celebrations, this 30 days marathon. So when I come back, we'll take your questions, as many as we can take today. But remember, America was also built with the sweat, the talent of immigrants. We'd like to remind America of that all the time. Immigrants are not net negatives in America. Immigrants are actually positive contributors to America, and sometimes we forget that, and that is why my law firm commissioned a documentary that we call the Immigrant Hall of Fame, where we want to celebrate some of the best immigrants who ever came to this country and what they contributed to the America of today. So we are not just takers. And that is also to boost the confidence of every immigrant out there. You are not a burden to America. You are a contributor to America. Right now, because of the prevailing climate, they may not see it like that. Our job is to keep letting them know that immigrants have a stake in America. Let's do it legally. Let's do it properly. Let's not run down a country we want to be part of. And so we commissioned this Immigrant Wall of Fame, and I'm going to show you one of them today. We have about 15 or 20 of them that we are doing. And tonight, I think we're going to focus on one of those immigrants that came, saw, and helped them to build a great nation. Wait for it. After that, I'll be back and we'll take your questions.
Banwo Law and Eisen proudly present the USA Immigrant Hall of Fame, celebrating remarkable immigrants who came to America, overcame adversity, achieved greatness, and helped shape the greatest nation on earth. Their journey, their sacrifice, their legacy. Banwo Law and Eisen proudly present the USA Immigrant Hall of Fame, celebrating remarkable immigrants who came to America, overcame adversity, achieved greatness, and helped shape the greatest nation on earth. Their journey, their sacrifice, their legacy.
America has always attracted dreamers, but some dreamers arrive carrying something bigger than luggage. In 1884, a skinny immigrant from Europe stepped onto American soil with almost no money, no connections, and no idea that his imagination would someday help power the modern world. His name was Nikola Tesla, and the light shining above your head tonight may exist because America opened its doors to one lonely immigrant genius. Nikola Tesla was born in a small village in what is now Croatia, then part of the Austrian Empire. Even as a child, he was different. While other boys played games, Tesla became obsessed with invisible forces. Lightning fascinated him. Electricity haunted his imagination. He saw inventions in his mind long before he could build them with his hands. But brilliance can be lonely. Many people around him simply could not understand the strange young man whose mind never seemed to rest. Europe gave him education, but not opportunity. Tesla dreamed of something bigger, a place where impossible ideas could become reality. That place was America. When Tesla arrived in New York City in 1884, he was almost completely broke. One immigrant, one suitcase, one mind overflowing with impossible ideas. America was loud, chaotic, ruthless. He spoke with a heavy accent. He had no family empire behind him, no political connections, no safety net, just relentless belief. Like millions of immigrants before and after him, Tesla discovered that the American dream often begins with exhaustion, sacrifice, and loneliness. He worked brutal hours, slept little, struggled financially, and many people treated him like an outsider with unrealistic fantasies. But immigrants are often powered by something stronger than comfort: hunger. Nikola Tesla believed electricity could travel farther, safer, and more efficiently than anyone thought possible. Most experts doubted him, but Tesla refused to surrender his vision. His revolutionary work with alternating current, AC electricity, would eventually defeat older systems and transform civilization itself. Suddenly, entire cities could be powered. Streets lit up at night. Homes became brighter. Factories became stronger. Modern industry exploded forward. The modern electrical world was born. Every glowing skyscraper, every powered hospital, every subway, every airport runway, every home illuminated at night, all trace part of their story back to one struggling immigrant who arrived nearly penniless. America did not just give Tesla opportunity. Tesla helped give America power. But history is not always kind to visionaries. Tesla was often overlooked, underappreciated, and financially broken. While others became wealthy, Tesla struggled. He died in relative loneliness inside a New York hotel room in 1943. Yet even in death, the world continued running on his brilliance. Sometimes, the immigrant dreamers who shape history are not fully appreciated until long after they are gone. But America became brighter, literally and figuratively, because Nikola Tesla arrived. Somewhere tonight, another immigrant is arriving in America, carrying invisible greatness. Maybe the next scientist, the next inventor, the next dreamer who will transform humanity. History reminds us again and again, when America welcomes courageous dreamers, America shines brighter. This tribute to immigrant greatness is brought to you by the American Immigrants Support and Empowerment Network, AISEN, and sponsored by Banwo Law and Associates, helping immigrants achieve the American dream without the nightmares.
Well, that was a moving one. I really enjoyed it. Nikola Tesla. Anytime you drive a Tesla, every time you see light, you know that we immigrants are part of the story. I'm not saying immigrants did it alone, but immigrants gave more than what they got from this country. And that is why we have to hold our heads high wherever we are. Of course, we are going to follow the law. Of course, we are going to try to do it the right way. But let nobody tell us that we're just hangers on in America. Immigrants were part of the story. This is our story too. And that's all I got. Every day we'll bring you some more of this. We have several of them, and we some Nigerians who made the list. I'm really excited about that, but you will see that when we bring them. Now let's get to the Q&A finally. All right. I know that a lot of you, what you want to hear is the Q&A, and it's okay too. Let's get to it. All right, where are my musketeers? Are they still there? or have they abandoned me to my to my to my fate? Are you still here, Dekolu? You there?
Yes, I'm
Okay,
here, sir.
yes. Yes, I know Samuel has left me on my own with two girls. Okay, let's go to the questions. Our first question that we're going to be talking about tonight, from what my assistants have put up from the screen, is where's that? My USCIS I-130 case status says, notice explaining USCIS action was mailed. What does this mean? And this is by Hernandez. Let me let me take out this. We are done with Tesla now. Let's see where we are with that. Okay. And then, of course, for those of you who have not yet subscribed to our newsletter, let me bring up that announcement. You want to join the newsletter for the Banwo Law, where we give you information weekly, breaking news, encouraging news, tips about what is going on in the world of immigrants to prepare you in advance. And it's free, 100% free. You want to join or subscribe to our newsletter, Banwo Immigration Newsletter, and you can join for free today at banwolaw.net/newsletter. banwolaw.net/newsletter. You can, when you join, you get weekly immigration breaking USCIS news. Sometimes when something major breaks, I actually send out breaking news to my list first before I then do it to the general public. We also talk about visa bulletin alerts, numbers going back and forth, tips for your green card and citizenship. In fact, I'm excited about that. Also in our office here in Dallas, we are going to be helping, especially the older folks, how to get ready for the citizenship interviews. We're going to be running citizenship classes as a special gift to the community. We're not going to charge for it, where we train them about how to pass. We're going to talk about immigrant survivor tips. At some point, we'll bring some experts in different areas, not even law, to help you become a better immigrant and achieve better. So join everything we do with our community, with our partnership with ISEN, the American Immigrant and Support Network. We will send it by email to those who are on our list, banwolaw.net/newsletter, and you get to join that list 100% for free. Back to our question here. You got a notice explaining USCIS action was mailed. What does this mean? Hernandez from Bloomington. Well, this means USCIS, that's I like to use colloquial words that everybody will understand. Immigration, when you hear me say immigration, most times I'm referring to USCIS, even though I know that there are so many departments under that. That is what many of you can understand. So USCIS has taken some, that they're telling you they have taken some action on your I-130 petition, and they have mailed you an official notice explaining what that action is. Now, this notice could relate to an approval, a denial, maybe a request for evidence most times, or that they are transferring your case, or they are reopening a case against you, or another update on the case. So the online status itself is generic. Many times when you see it and say, you see your status, say they mailed you something, it does not tell you the exact decision. So you must wait for the physical notice or check your online account for USCIS. If you have not opened one and you have a case with immigration or a paper with immigration, you should open one. It's free. That way they can update you as your case is going directly, even before you hear from your lawyer. So you must wait for the notice or check your USCIS online account for uploaded documents. When they send it to you, they will also upload it so you can get it faster than it comes in the mail. So the key point here is that this message that you got, I don't want you to panic. It does not automatically mean bad news. The real answer is inside the mail notice that is sent to you. So it's not bad news. It could even be an approval letter. So be open-minded, be positive. Good things are about to start happening to you. Okay? Let's go. Okay, pull up the second question, people. Okay, now we have the two musketeers left. Two musketeers have disappeared on us tonight. pull up the second question. Okay, Mendoza from Modesto, California. Anytime I hear California, that's a sanctuary city. That's one area you want to run to for those of you looking where to hide. It says, if I apply for bankruptcy, will it affect my home and applying for permanent residency? Will it affect your being able to get your green card and your house that you're living? Well, this is not strictly immigration question, but I'll answer it to the best of my knowledge here. Filing for bankruptcy does not automatically prevent you from getting a green card or permanent residency. Bankruptcy is a legal financial process in America, even though it has a lot of bad stigma in Africa and other places in the world. But bankruptcy is a legal financial process, and by itself is generally not considered an immigration violation. It's not a crime involving moral turpitude for you to file bankruptcy. Many times in America, it's a business decision. However, bankruptcy can affect your assets, including your home. Again, don't take my legal advice here, all right? Depending on the type of bankruptcy filed and state exemption laws, and it's federal, so I'm within line to talk about that, regardless of where you're watching me nationally, okay? It can take your assets, it can affect your assets, depending on where you filed and the exemptions that they give you, okay? Financial sponsorship issue can also be affected if you are required to show income or financial support during the immigration process. Because if you are required to show that you are able to take care of yourself and pay your bills and all of that, what they call a financial means that you have to demonstrate. If you are filing bankruptcy, then that will be bad. Because someone who is bankrupt cannot pay bills, cannot pay their bills, then you may have to require this support, affidavit from other people who will be saying that they will be responsible for your finances in case you are not. So to that extent, it probably can intersect with your immigration situation, meaning that you have to go get a co-sponsor. Immigration concerns will usually arise only if there is fraud. Because remember, when you are filing bankruptcy, everything is investigated. If you are hiding assets, if you made false statements, don't do it. Or you committed financial crimes that is connected to your bankruptcy case. Now, immigration issues could spring from that. If the fraud is discovered during your bankruptcy, or you made false statements in your statement to the bankruptcy court, or you're hiding assets to prevent them from taking it while you're in bankruptcy, all of that can then raise immigration issues. So for many people, bankruptcy is legally used to reorganize or discharge their debt and does not automatically create immigration problems. So that's all I can tell you. Bankruptcy alone does not block permanent residency, but fraud or dishonesty in the process can create serious immigration issues for you, and you want to be very conscious of that does not happen. All right, let's go to the next question here. Question 3. Oh, they said nothing is playing. You mean the video did not play? Oh my God. Let me bring my people up for a second. You mean the video did not play? I just saw that. You didn't watch the video?
Yes, I did. I think it's from our hand. She needs to refresh her page.
Okay. You want me to panic here? Grace, I've told you go and get the correct computer. I've been telling you this thing. You don't listen. Eh? That's my special girl right there. Okay. I'm glad that I just saw the note now, but thank God that Jolobi said she saw it. All right, let's look at question 3 for today. He said, my I-140 got rejected. What shall I do now? I'm going from Houston, Texas, my favorite place. Probably the next place we are going to be opening an office soon. When an I-140, that's the what is called the Immigrant Petition for Alien Worker. That's what an I-140 is. You know, I like to call the forms by their names because all these 140, 185, most people don't know what that is. So when your immigration petition for alien worker, which is the I-140, is denied, the next steps depend on the reason they gave you for denying it. So first, you have to carefully review the denial notice, and many times the reasons they give you will include things like inability to prove that your employer can pay, or maybe you are missing some strong supporting evidence, or maybe there's a job requirement mismatch. Maybe the job you are trying to do, they're filing for you for, is different from your resume, or there's a mismatch between your qualification and the job that they're giving you, or maybe there are issues with your PALM labor certification. It could be many things that will make them deny this. Now, when it's denied, you have several options. You may have several options. One of them, for instance, is like filing a motion to reopen or to reconsider it. You do that on a form called Form I-290B. So if immigration, you can do that if immigration made an error, or maybe a new evidence is available. Then the proper thing to do is to file a motion to reopen or to reconsider. Let's say you read the denial. Obviously, you have to do this with an experienced lawyer. So you're not a lawyer. Yeah, you can read the regulations and try to determine for yourself, but at this stage of the game, it will be very foolish for you to be trying to do it yourself. But if an immigration lawyer read their decision and realized that they made an error or there's a new evidence, he can ask them to reconsider their decision by pointing their attention to cases they are not even aware of, or a new situation or a new rule that the person who made the decision may not have been aware of. So you have an option for a motion to reopen or motion to reconsider. Another option you can have is you can refile a new I-140 petition. In other words, you can file a new petition for alien worker with stronger documentation. Maybe you did it by yourself, and we've done several of that before, where somebody filed the paper by themselves and it got denied because they didn't really document the process better, and then we put stronger documentation and they approve it. You can also do that, and you can do that yourself too. Maybe refile, because you asked me for options. A fourth option you can also have is appeal, and this is not all cases, but in some cases, you can appeal to the Administrative Appeals Office. It's called the AAO. I need some water here. Okay, you can appeal to the Administrative Appeals Office. That's 4. And if you're in the US and still maintaining valid status, your employer may restart the PAM process or file again for you. Thank you so much. So those are like 4 or 5 options you can do right now. File a motion to reopen, or file a motion to reconsider, or refile a new I-140 petition with better documentation, or you can appeal to the Administrative Appeals Office. And if you're in the US, your employer may choose to restart the PAM process all over again, especially if you discover, or through lawyer, that you made some mistakes in filing the original one. The key point you have to bear in mind is that a denial is not always the end. You got to fight. Like Donald Trump said, fight and fight and fight. Sometimes the reason for rejecting you helps you to determine the correct strategy. When you read what they have said, why they decided they're going to reject your I-140, that will give you a clue what you need to do better, especially if you are doing the refiling option. So it's not the end, it's the beginning of a long process. Immigration in America right now is a very long thing, and you have to keep fighting. You can't give up. If you give up, what are you going to do? Go back to Africa where you came from and continue to suffer? No, you got to think it through, that you got to fight. The important is that as long as you are fighting, or go back, if you going is not from Africa, probably from one of those Far Eastern countries. You want to go back to Vietnam? No, you don't want to do that. You want to battle it out. But don't just wait and hope that this thing will correct itself. That's why you get a lawyer that is seeing this type of things in your area or colors, and let somebody fight for you. All right, next question here. My fiancé lives in PA, I believe that's Pennsylvania, and I live in Massachusetts. I'm on DACA without legal entry. Can he sponsor me even if we live in different states? Well, first of all, you have to understand that living in different states will not cause a denial automatically. It doesn't automatically cause a denial. Lots of people live in different states and they're able to file for themselves because U.S. immigration law does not require spouses or fiancés to live in the same state for sponsorship purposes. A lot of rumors on social media and all of that will tell you that's not true. But I'm telling you, the law does not require, even though it's desirable, does not require for the fiancé or the spouses to live in the same state for sponsorship purposes. But in your case, I think the bigger issue is your immigration eligibility. Because I noticed that you mentioned DACA and that you had no lawful entry. In other words, you came in illegal through your parents or whatever who brought you in, and that's why you got DACA. That's a very important thing. Because even if you marry a U.S. citizen later, adjustment of status inside the U.S. may be complicated or it's not even allowed, depending on how you enter the U.S., how you enter the country. And you already said you didn't make a lawful entry. If when they were bringing you, when you were young, if you didn't have a parole, in other words, nobody caught you at the border or gave you some parole, then you may not be allowed to adjust your status here. You may have to go back home. Of course, you apply for a waiver before you go, and hopefully the waiver gets approved and all that. For fiancé cases, it's the one they call K1 visa. See, the U.S. citizen petitioner must file what is called Form I-129F. Form I-129F. Okay, and both of you must intend to marry within 90 days of entry. That's a very critical point. I've seen people who thought that they can get away with that. There is no waiver for that. There is no excuse around it. You either marry yourself in 90 days or you go back to your country. Otherwise, you are forever barred from being able to get your papers. Very important. And you also have to, of course, you have to meet some financial, some income requirements and some financial stuff. You know that. But separate press residencies are not a major problem, since that's your one of the stuff that you mentioned. So sponsorship depends on legal eligibility and your immigration history, not on living in the same state. I hope you got that. And I hope I addressed your question directly. Okay, we try to be very direct and thorough here to make sure that we're not just going to give you half the answer and then say, go and book a call. We don't do that. Hopefully, I thoroughly answered your question. If I didn't, please do a follow-up and then ask additional questions. I'll be more than happy to answer them for you. Let's look at question, the next question here. Can I use my new Canadian passport to enter the US if my physical green card has expired? Can I use my Canadian passport to enter the US if my green card has expired? No, ma. Or no, sir. Johnson. I'm assuming it's a man. A Canadian passport alone does not replace your US green card. Sorry. If you're a lawful permanent resident, you should also understand your status is not automatically lost because the physical card is lost or expired. But you still need proper documentation to re-enter the US. So generally, if the green card has expired, here are some of the things you can do. Number one, you can apply for what is called a re-entry permit. That is for those who are staying outside the country for long periods of time. Or, number two, you can file a Form I-90. You can file a Form I-90 to renew your green card. And in some urgent situations, you can request a temporary boarding, they call it temporary boarding foil, like a transportation letter from a U.S. consulate that will allow you to come in, even though your green card has expired. Because the card is just evidence of your your permanent residence. The card is not your permanent residence. So the fact that the card expired does not necessarily mean you have lost your permanent residency. Okay? Or that is lost. Airlines are usually not allowed to board you to the US with only an expired green card and foreign passport. They won't even let you enter. If you don't have papers to enter America, and you can't use green card that has expired to enter America. I say because I have a Canadian passport. Canada has said they don't want to be the 51st state of America now. So you know Trump is not going to take their passport. I like to joke about that. Our president is a very funny man. He said he wants to make Canada 54 states. And if you no agree, figures are not agreeing, you know Donald Trump is not going to take your passport. But those in Puerto Rico now, they can come to America with their passports because they agreed. They're part of our states. Sorry about that. I know sometimes this is not funny. You think it's impossible in this day and age, but it's happening. All right, let's go to the next question. Can I get an emergency advance parole same day or very early in the day or next day? Are you kidding me now? Well, I'm not going to say you can't. In very limited situations, same day emergency advance parole is called EAP, may be possible, but it's not guaranteed and it's very rare. The USCIS may issue emergency advance parole for you if there is a true urgent humanitarian reason or very significant public benefit. Listen to me, read between the lines now. They can give you same day emergency advance parole if there is a true urgent humanitarian reason or there's a significant public benefit to you getting it, such as like serious illness, and you really need to be evacuated to where your life can be saved, or death of a close family member like a child or a spouse or a husband, death of a close family member abroad. If that happened, they might probably give you emergency advance parole, or maybe the person is about to die, it's in the hospital, or if you need emergency medical treatment that can be done abroad, you already have the place where you're going to do it, or some other extremely urgent situations. Typically, when you're pursuing this, you must first contact the USCIS local field office for what they call an info pass appointment. Now, if they approve you, some officers can give you a travel document on the same day or within the next 24 to 72 hours, depending on their workload and urgency. But I must be honest with you, it is rare and far in between for them to do that. They have discretion whether they're going to do it. And many requests are denied, or they schedule you for a later interview if the emergency itself is not well documented. I hope you read between the lines everything I just said. Okay, yes, you can, does not mean you will get it. It has to be extreme emergency along the lines that I've described, and then you must also meet an immigration officer that is very well disposed towards you, because they have a big discretion on whether they can do this or not. I hope that answered the question very well enough. If not, please give me a fallback on that. Let's look at the next question, people. Okay. What possible way of coming back to the US legally does a person who voluntarily leaves the US have? Now, that's an interesting. In other words, you voluntarily left, and you're saying what possible ways can you come back? All right, let's talk about that for a second. Well, it depends on your immigration history before you left the US. For instance, what kind of status you had, how long did you overstay, what kind of unlawful presence did you accrue before you left. Ordinarily, voluntary departure, in other words, voluntary departure means you left by yourself. You didn't wait to be deported. You You volunteer to go by yourself. You paid your own way to go back to your country. Voluntary departure does not automatically ban re-entry, but it can affect future options that you have. I hope from what I've been saying all night, I hope you understand that, because the fact that you voluntarily left does not waive some of the consequences of overstaying in America. I hope you get that. So you can come back if you don't have those limitations. So some common legal ways, since you wanted to know what ways can I come back if I voluntarily leave the US. Of course, you can always come back by getting a non-immigrant visitor's visa, like a student visa, F1, work visa, EB1, EB2, EB3, all that. Visitor visa, H1B, PO, that's O visa. Those are all non-immigrant visas. If you are still eligible and you can prove strong ties abroad, yes, you can come back if you left voluntarily. Number two way you can also come back is through family-based immigration, like an I-130 petition. Let's say your father filed for you, or your sister, and the timing is current, or you marry a U.S. citizen. So if you have a qualifying U.S. citizen or green card family member, wife, and all of that, brother, they can file for you. They're citizens to be able to come back even though you left voluntarily after you have overstayed. There's also the employment-based immigration options, like H1B, EB1, EB2, EB3, all those ones that I've talked. Those categories, you can come back if you left voluntarily. But of course, you have to be qualified through all those requirements for those places. Another way you can come back is to what they call waiver-based entry, like an I-601 or I-212, depending on the kind of bar that you have. For instance, if you have been illegal for more than a year, if you have overstayed by more than a year, you get a 10-year bar. If you go out voluntarily or not, you cannot come back for 10 years unless you get a waiver. If you have overstayed for more than 6 months but less than 1 year, then if you go out voluntary or not, you cannot come back for 3 years. It's an automatic ban. But you can get those waived by filing a waiver through like the Form I-601, or if it's a more serious bar that you have, I-212. So you can come back with what we call waiver-based entry. That's like the fourth option for you. There's still one more option, like through humanitarian ways, such as asylum, refugee processing, or parole in special cases. All of that can still help you to come back to the country after you leave voluntarily. But remember, voluntarily leaving does not waive the negative consequences of overstaying in the country if you have overstayed. So you need to weigh all of that. If you have overstayed for more than 1 year, you need to understand that regardless of any of those 4 or 5 options that I went through, you are not coming back unless you get a waiver. I hope you understand that. When we come back, we'll take more questions. We have a question from Marcus Gavis. When you come back, we will take your question. Marcus, don't go away. If you are watching this from wherever you are watching this all over the world, don't go away. We will be back and we will take more questions. You are watching Immigrant Survivor with Dr. Ope Banwo. Immigrant Survivor Show with Dr. Banwo. When we come back, we'll take more questions. But for now, I want to take a little time out, 1 minute, as I will bring you some of the questions that I've answered on video that hopefully will help you to be a better citizen, to survive better in this season of enforcement.
I want you to know something. If you're afraid to return to your home country, you may not be without options. There are protections available under the U.S. immigration law for people who are facing danger, persecution, or serious threats. I understand that this is not just a legal situation. This is about your safety, your future, your family. And for many people, even talking about what they've gone through is not easy. I was in that situation once too. Asylum is a form of protection available to individuals who cannot safely return to their own country because of persecution. And this can be based on your political views, your religion, your nationality, your race, or your membership in a particular group. But asylum cases are not just about fear. They're about how your story is presented, how it is supported, and how it is understood. Many asylum cases are denied, not because the fear is not real, but because the story is not clearly explained, the evidence is not properly organized, or important details are missing. And unfortunately, small mistakes like this can have very serious consequences. At Banwo Law, we take the time to listen to your story. We help you present your case clearly. We prepare the right supporting evidence to back you up. And we guide you through every step of the process. Because our goal is simple: to make sure your voice is heard and your case is taken seriously. So if you are seeking protection, you don't have to go through this alone. Please go schedule a confidential consultation with me at speakwithope.com or call us at 888-215-5054 to book your call with the assistance of our staff. Do it now. Let's talk about your situation and explore the legal options available to you. We can meet in person or we can meet on Zoom. My name is Dr. Ope Banwo, and I'm the founder of Banwo Law. We help individuals nationwide across America seek protection in the United States. Give us a call now and let's talk about your situation. She married a U.S. citizen and still got denied her green card. Yes, marriage, legit marriage, but she still got denied her green card. My name is Ope Banwo, and for over 29 years, I have been helping immigrants achieve their American dreams without the nightmares. So she came to me crying. They had already filed everything themselves. No lawyer, no strategy, just forms and hope and belief in their love. What they didn't understand is this: marriage is not the strategy to get green card. Documentation is, timing is, legal positioning is. So they got denied, and she was placed in removal proceedings. Now, instead of getting a green card, she was literally fighting for her life to stay in the country. Before we finally stepped in when they called us, we rebuilt the case properly, reorganized the evidence, prepared her for interview as if we are doing a legal case, not a love story. Now she's back on track, thank God. Now, listen to me carefully. Most marriage cases with immigration don't fail because the marriage is fake. They fail because the case was handled casually with a lot of assumptions. If you are filing through marriage, already filed, and you are not sure you have done it right, don't make the irreversible mistake that most people make. Go to speakwithope.com right now and book a strategy consultation with me. And let's help you handle your case like a professional legal matter, not guesswork, before your American dream turns into a nightmare. Let's talk.
All righty, let's get back to the live question and answer now. We have Marcus Gavis, who put in this on one of our platforms here. As a VAWA approved person in June 27, 2024, and how long can I wait for citizenship application? Interesting. We are getting a lot of these VAWA cases of recent. I thought there's a lot of people who are getting their green card and citizenship with it. Well, if your VAWA was approved on June 27, 2024, as I said, the first thing we need to determine is whether that date refers to your VAWA petition approval or the date you actually became a lawful permanent resident, a green card holder. Those are two separate things. So I don't know what your June 27, 2024 applies to. Because citizenship eligibility is generally calculated from the date you became a permanent resident, which is what appears on your green card as resident since, okay? So if you obtain your green card through VAWA based on abuse by a U.S. citizen, for instance, you may qualify to apply for citizenship or naturalization after 3 years as a permanent resident. And in many cases, you can file up to 90 days before meeting that full 3-year requirement. Now, if the 3-year rule does not apply, maybe because the person who abuses is not a U.S. citizen, the standard 5-year residency requirement will apply instead. So my advice for you is to look at the front of your card and identify the resident since date. They will put it there, resident since. That is the date that counts. That date is what will determine when you become eligible to file the form N400, which is the form for citizenship. Now, very important, before filing, also make sure that you have maintained a continuous residence. You have met the physical presence requirements. You have demonstrated good moral character. Again, that thing is where a law trip up, good moral character. Sometimes what you think is good moral character is not the way immigration is thinking. So you need to talk to a lawyer about anything in your past. And then you need to compile all the other naturalization requirements. For a more detailed answer specific to your case, I think I will need to review your green card itself, or at least a copy of it, and then I will need to agree you a bit on the basis on which you got that VAWA, because the basis also determines the time you become a citizen and all some of the other stuff that you need that you will need for your citizenship. Thank you for coming in and putting your question out there. Right, VAWA is one of those hot areas now because America cares about domestic violence and all that stuff. And if somebody is going through that, they give them. One day I'm going to talk, make a rant really about that, about this VAWA thing. And I think it's something that I'll talk about. Let me leave it like that. Okay. So let's go to the next question we have here. Please put it up. What do you have here? I'm looking. Okay. How can I correct my name order on the green card? Thank you, Grace. How can I correct my name order on green card? If your name is incorrectly spelled or ordered, for example, maybe first name and last name was reversed. That actually happened to my wife incidentally, and we had to fix that. Okay, or misspelled. You can request a correction by filing what is called a Form I-90. I keep calling it 190. Form I-90 is called an application to replace permanent residence card. You can file that with immigration or what they call USCIS. To do that, of course, successfully, you will need to select the option for card was issued with incorrect information. You're going to get options on the Form I-90 when you're completing it. You want to click the option that says card was issued with incorrect information. Number 2, you need to provide the legal name, the correct legal name as shown on your passport or birth certificate or court records or a legal name change document that you did in court. You have to submit all of that along with it and submit supporting documents proving the correct name order. You have to submit maybe other documents to show that instead of Ope Banwo is Banwo Ope. So that way they know that there is a mistake and they can correct it. But if the error was made by USCIS, by immigration, they may correct it without a fee. But if they made a mistake, they shouldn't make you have to pay for it, and they will correct it without a fee. However, if this issue is due to maybe you did a legal name change or you provided incorrect information, then the standard filing fees, whatever the filing fees at that time is, and these filing fees are always changing, you will have to pay. But it's not a big deal, but get on it early, okay? Get on it early. You don't want to be talking stories. If they say that's not your card, by the time the immigration grabs you, and they're saying that's not you. It sounds funny, but it's also not. My wife had run into this problem where it was with traveling, where they reversed her date of birth. Her date of birth on her passport was, the way they reversed this in Nigeria, the way she wrote it, where they put, and because her date of birth is in the single digits, so they put 2. She was born in April 2nd, so they put 02, 0204. That's the way Nigeria writes it, but in America it's 0402. Sounds like a joke, But she made a trip. She missed the trip over that at the airport because of the scrutiny here, and we have to battle to try to change that. So you want to go ahead and try to change this thing now before it becomes a problem. At least in our own case, it was no immigration trying to arrest her or whatever. Because if they grab with you, a very overzealous guy will say that's not you. They put in the surname and your surname doesn't show there. It can be a problem. So I would suggest you do something about it as soon as possible. Can we put up the next question, please? Okay. Thank you. Can I change my status from an asylum seeker to a green card holder or US citizen? Ali, Chicago, my Indian brothers are always giving me the tough questions here. Yes, you can do that. You can change your status from an asylum seeker to a green card holder or citizen, but there's a step-by-step legal process that you have to go through. Now, if your asylum case is approved, you may apply for green card, which is the lawful permanent resident in, after 1 year of being granted asylum by filing Form I-485. 1 year after your asylum case is approved, then you can file for green card using Form I-485. Now, after becoming a green card holder, you may later apply for citizenship through naturalization, and that is 5 years after you got your permanent residence. Or if you like, 4 years and 9 months, depending on your eligibility timing. You can probably file 3 months before your 5 years is over. But if your asylum case is still pending, you cannot directly convert it into a green card or citizenship, obviously. You must first get your asylum approved or qualify through another immigration pathway, such as family or unemployment. Because I've seen that, maybe that's what you're even asking, that let's say, for instance, you had an asylum pending, and now you got married to a US citizen, and you are now trying to get a green card with that. Yes, you can then change your status from an asylum seeker, because from what you are saying here, an asylum seeker probably hasn't gotten his stuff approved. So maybe they haven't approved your green card here. I don't have enough details. Okay. If you're an asylum seeker at that point, you can change to a spouse of a US citizen category. Your lawyer will file a document for you, and then you pursue that, because that gives you a faster route to citizenship. If it is 3 years that they give you, by the time you go for interview, they give you the 5-year one, then you can possibly convert to citizenship after 3 years, and you can abandon your asylum that you have. But I always advise my clients, don't abandon your asylum until you have gotten the new one. No, because if you say, because I'm married to a citizen, I want to withdraw my asylum to go and apply through my spouse. What if you're married to your spouse develops problem? And lots of them are developing problem now, especially if you come from Africa and you are divorced. I don't know how many of you are aware of that. For instance, now, immigration is taking the position that every divorce that comes out of a place like Nigeria is fake. It don't matter whether your divorce is real or not. Even it doesn't matter that you have court records to show it. They assume it's fake. So they delay your case and you have to prove it. Sometimes so what if that starts dragging and now you have 5 years, you are still dragging that, and you have already withdrawn your asylum? That means you have no status. Or they deny it. In the last 1 or 2 years, we've been hearing that a lot. Before, marrying a US citizen is automatic. But now we're getting close to 30% denied for marriage fraud, because they will grill you, they will grill your husband now, and if they feel that this thing is not right, they are denying it seriously. And what they do is they will even threaten the American citizen. I've seen that happen a lot. They take them into a room, they do a Stokes interview for you. A Stokes interview is where they separate both of you. And then when the US citizen gets in the room with them, they threaten him or her that you know that this is a crime you are doing, that if you find out that you got paid or that this is an arranged marriage, you are going to go to jail for 5 years, 3 years, unless you tell us the truth now. And you know many Americans don't get hurt like that. If they start telling them that they're going to go to jail if they discover that it's fraudulent. So if it is fraudulent, if they paid them or if it's an arranged marriage, they will talk. And the next thing you know, you are totally messed up. And if you have gone to withdraw your asylum that you have, now you have no status. You are naked. They're going to take you and they're going to deport you. That's what it is. But as to your question, whether you can change your status, yes, you can if you qualify in another category. Maybe you file a B1, EB1. Maybe you file an EB1 and then you got approved for that. That gives you automatic green card, or rather gives you the permission to apply immediately for green card. And once you apply and you get granted, then you can withdraw your asylum that you have there. But I don't recommend that you remove your asylum until you have been approved in a new category. So you can do that. I've had clients who have done that, who got approved for EB2. But they had an asylum pending. Once they got that approval and we have their adjustment of status filed, in that one, we didn't wait for the approval because we know that more than 99% they're going to grant the adjustment of status since it is based on an approved EB2. All they need is that approval and the fact that you don't have criminal record. You know you're going to win. So you can withdraw the asylum. For them, if it's EB1, even better. But for me, even though that client insisted, I think they're just so scared that they might call them for interview, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, even if they call you for interview, you have your green card application pending. They won't even do the interview. But he insisted. But my advice would be, don't withdraw it until you have won one. You got your green card in your hand, then you withdraw. But you can do either. Okay, let's take the next question. Thank you. What we got here? Can I still continue my EAD and reapply for a green card after I get a divorce because of fraud? Hey, Jesus. Divorce because of fraud. Will be tough. Well, Azan, it depends on what type of case you originally used to get your work permit and whether your green card process was based on marriage. So if your work permit was based on a pending I-485 and that is based on on your marriage petition, then a divorce where fraud is alleged or proven can seriously affect your eligibility. In fact, it will. Let me not sugarcoat it for you. Immigration may deny or revoke the green card if they determine that your marriage was fraudulent or was not bona fide. This is a serious matter. If fraud is involved, it is very important for you to get legal advice before you file anything else. Because after they deny based on fraud, you can actually refile under a different immigration category like family, employment, asylum. But typically, if fraud is found, you cannot reapply based on marriage to another US citizen. That route is blocked. But you can reapply for green card through other means, like maybe your family filed for you, not spouse now, or maybe through EB1, EB2, EB3, or through asylum. You can still reapply for green card through that, but you cannot reapply through marriage to another US citizen if they found fraud. And if they told you fraud has been found, in other words, they put it in writing that your marriage is fraudulent, that's the reason they deny it, not that they are denying for a different reason, even though they mention fraud in your letter, but they specifically say they are denying your application because this is a fraudulent marriage. My personal advice is that you need to run to a legal attorney quickly, especially if you are trying to refile something. If they found fraud and they didn't do anything to you, just thank your stars and run away and hide somewhere. But if you are planning to refile, you need to get a lawyer, because fraud finding can create long-term immigration consequences for you. Even in those other categories, the issue will still come up, so you need a lawyer to help you navigate. So to come back to your question, divorce alone does not automatically cancel your status, but fraud allegations will severely impact both your work permit renewal and future green card eligibility. Typically, once they have even found that you did marriage fraud, it just won't even end there now. Not only will they deny your green card, more than likely they will put you in deportation proceedings on the ground of fraud. Before, if they say your marriage is fraudulent, they just deny it, and many times they don't even issue an NTA. But these days, more than 90% of the time, if not all the time, once they allege that this is being denied based on marriage fraud, you know in 60 days, you're going to get an NTA. And if you're lucky you didn't get one, you want to stay away from them for a while. So if you're trying to refile under another category, you can't file through marriage to another US citizen like that. But if you're filing through EB1, EB2, EB3, Asylum, or any other categories, you don't want to do it alone. You want to do it with a lawyer, because he may need to file a waiver of that finding of fraud against you before you put in the application. Don't just go and expose yourself. You file, and then people that have forgotten about you, that don't care about you, they pull your fingerprint when you do fingerprint, and now you are dealing with deportation instead of green card. So you want to get a lawyer who will look at it thoroughly and decide whether a waiver should be filed or not filed. All right. Jalomi, can we have the next question, please? All right. Can I apply for US citizen if I was convicted of embezzlement before I got my green card? Walker. Wow. True, you can apply for citizenship, but the conviction for embezzlement is very serious and may create major obstacles. I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you. We don't do that here. My job is to give you the correct analysis, the best I can do, and give you the best way to deal with this, but without lying to you or making things sound easy when they're not. Embezzlement is generally considered a crime involving moral turpitude. It's called CIMT in all these abbreviation parlance that we love to use. Embezzlement is a crime involving moral turpitude. And it can also be classified with the worst one that is called aggravated felony. Depending on the amount involved in the embezzlement and the sentence imposed. For instance, if the sentence imposed is above 1 year, it's automatic aggravated felony. And if the amount is also above a certain figure, then it becomes aggravated felony too. So if it's an aggravated felony, it gives you a permanent bar. I'm going to say it again. If it is an aggravated felony, it can permanently bar you from showing good moral character, which is required for naturalization. In simple English, what that means is that if, for instance, your conviction for the crime of that embezzlement is more than 1 year, or if the punishment for the offense, even if you didn't get 1 year, if the punishment for it is more than 1 year, they can classify it as aggravated felony. If they do, then you are barred from basically ever applying for citizenship, is what it means, because you need good moral character to be a citizen. But if you are convicted of aggravated felony, you can never have opportunity. They're not going to give you opportunity, say 4 years, 5 years, to show that you have good moral character, you're done. It permanently bars you from showing good moral character. And you need good moral character to get citizenship. That means you live and die on the work permit that you have. And you thank your stars for that if they're not trying to take it away from you. But if it is just a crime involving moral turpitude, you can then be talking about how many years has passed and all that. In this case, USCIS will review the nature of the conviction, what exactly was it, what happened, the sentence that is imposed, and that's where the work of art comes in, where you see lawyers, criminal law, defense lawyers who know their immigration law, and criminal defense lawyers who don't know their immigration law. So if a judge is going to give you 1 year, which is 365 days, that becomes aggravated felony, for instance. An immigration lawyer who understands the consequence of that can negotiate with the judge or with the lawyer for them to make it 364 days. That 1 day can make a difference between aggravated felony or crime involving moral turpitude. That one allows you to still have some chance, depending on your circumstances. The other one bars you forever. So the sentence imposed is very important. And then the amount involved is also critical. It's one thing to be convicted of embezzlement of $200. It's another thing to be convicted of embezzlement of $20,000. One will not become aggravated felony. The other one is aggravated felony. It's over 10,000, I think. Okay. So USCIS will also review whether it occurred within or outside the good moral character period. In other words, did it occur within 5 years of you applying for citizenship, or did it occur within that 5-year requirement or 3 year, depending on your category? Now, since you say even if the conviction happened before your green card, even if the conviction happened before you got the green card, it can still affect your citizenship application because they are allowed to look at the good moral character at any time, and it can potentially affect your ability to remain in the US. So if it happened 10 years before you got your green card, number one, the question is, did you disclose it before you got your green card? If you didn't, you're screwed. If you did, and they still gave you the green card, it may still affect your ability to apply for citizenship, because if you have aggravated felony, you don't have any other opportunity to prove good moral character, even if it happened 20 years ago. You are barred from being able to show good moral character. So you're done. Embezzlement is a high-risk criminal conviction for citizenship and often requires legal review before you can file your N-400. You got to let the lawyer look at it thoroughly for you and figure out ways. There's some very, very narrow exceptions, some narrow ways you can escape that, but that is beyond what we're going to be discussing on this call. Is a thorough legal maneuver. You need to have a lawyer look at it. This is not the kind that you are going to say, I want to do by myself. You can't do it. It's just going to mess it up. All right? Good luck. I hope it's just an hypothetical, but if it is true, you need to talk to a lawyer. I'll be happy to talk to you to see how we can possibly help you to still circumvent this, or talk to a lawyer in your neighborhood that knows what he's doing. Don't go alone on this one. Don't go apply for citizenship if you have been convicted of embezzlement without having a lawyer. I don't care the time the conviction happens. It needs special handling. All right. Good luck. Let's have the next question. Thank you. Can I start the application to sponsor my parents for permanent residency since I have a 2-year green card? Chen from Miami. Sorry, sir. No. If you have a 2-year conditional green card, you are still a lawful permanent resident, true, but you are not eligible to sponsor your parents yet. You are conditional. Only a U.S. citizen can file immediate relative petitions for parents using the Form I-130. Permanent residents, that is green card holders, cannot petition for parents at all. To sponsor your parents, you must first remove conditions on your green card. That's by filing the Form I-751, and then become a U.S. citizen through naturalization after you have met the residency and other requirements, either 3 years or 5 years, depending on when it happens. So once you become a citizen, then you can immediately file for your parents, and you'll be considered immediate relatives, meaning there is no waiting period, there is no visa quota waiting period for them. But the key point you must understand, because sometimes there's a misunderstanding about this, especially among WhatsApp lawyers and Facebook lawyers. Green card holders cannot sponsor their parents. Only US citizens can. I've had a situation where somebody has consulted with me and is trying to argue it, that he has a green card that can sponsor my parents. Well, I don't know about that. But don't let anybody collect your money. Only US citizens can sponsor their parents. Okay, let's take the next question. Okoro, can I add my family to my pending asylum case? That's actually a very good question that I hear all the time. Somebody files asylum, it didn't include anybody, but then when the asylum is pending, now wants to include them so that they can also get work permit and all. The truth is, you cannot generally add family members to your own asylum application after you have filed it. However, you may be able to include your spouse and unmarried children under 21 as what they call derivative beneficiaries, if they were already listed properly on your asylum application at the time you file them, or are eligible to be included under the asylum rules. See, there's a form in the asylum application that's going to ask you, do you have children? Do you have a wife? If you answer that I have a wife, you have to list the name of the wife. Then it's going to ask you whether you are including them in the application or not. At that point, you can say no, you are not including them, but you still have to list their name. If you have children, you have to list those children. It's going to ask you whether you are including the children in this application. For some reason, you might decide that you are not including them. I've had scenarios before where a client has a child that is applying for the juvenile protection. So she didn't want to include them in her asylum application, and she didn't want to list them. And I had to be educating her that you have children. They said you have children. You cannot say no. You have to say yes, because you have children. They've not stopped being your children. That's why the fact that they are filing for a juvenile SIJ. So unless you have gone to court and disowned them and have a documentation to say, but even then, you have to say, you still have to acknowledge them. Now, you can then, when it comes to are you including them in the application, you can then now say no. There's an option for yes or no. So that way, they're not included. Now, if you didn't include them, and then you got approved for your green card, you can then now file a derivative beneficiary status for them. Okay, because now that you have been granted asylum, once you have been granted, now they are called derivative beneficiaries. Then you can file for them. But if your family was not included initially, they usually cannot simply be added later to your case. Instead, they may need to file their own asylum application and adopt your story, in which case they probably will group all of them together. That's one smart way to get them in. Or be processed through derivative asylum procedures after you have been granted asylum, depending on their location and eligibility. Incidentally, that was my situation. When I ran here, my family and child were still in Nigeria. And it was after I was granted, then I had to file derivative beneficiary for them to be able to come. But you can't just say, okay, you're getting them the paper the same way, the same day you got it. It's different if they are here and you now put in there that you are including them. That's after you have listed them. I hope you know the difference. It's a subtle difference, but something that you need to discuss extensively with your lawyer so that you understand what you are doing. In other words, asylum does not allow late adding of family members, but derivatives may be possible depending on timing and startup. But if you never listed them as your children in your application when you are filing it, whether you want to include them or not. Mentioning their name in your application is not the same thing as including them. You have to understand that. You have to list your family member. Then mark you want to include or not. If you didn't include them, but you listed their names, they can still get derivative status. But if you never listed them at all, in other words, you don't want them to know about your children, you can't wake up after that and now say, I have children. Now you are going towards fraud. But that means you are children. When you fill the form, you said no, you don't have children. And then you are presenting, you got asylum in 2026, and you are presenting a 12-year-old child that you want to file for that person. That is immigration fraud. Even your own asylum, you will lose. Because that means you lied when you fill the form. That is why you don't do these things yourself. I've seen a scenario where the woman did not want to include the children, but not because she wanted to hide the children from immigration. She thought that if you listed the names, then that means they are included. And she omitted their names. It became a big problem. I didn't represent her eventually, so I don't know what happened with the case, but the immigration sent her a letter, notice of intention to withdraw her asylum grant based on fraud. We couldn't agree on fees, so I ended up not, but I don't know what happened. So it could be an issue. So if you're out there trying to fill an asylum application, if you have children, you have to list them. You cannot say you don't have one. Then when it comes to the question of whether you want to add them to your application, you can then say, no, I don't want to add them, in which case you are in order. And if you get approved, they will still be able to get derivative status. Right? I think we're already at the 3-hour mark. I think we have to stop here because some of my musketeers are even outside the country. I have some of them in the US, some of them outside the US, and we need to be considerate for them. It's supposed to be a 2-hour show. I've told them sometimes we're going to go to 3 hours because we want to give massive value to those who took the time to watch this show and stay with us. All right. Beginning from next week, I'm actually going to be doing something special. I'm going to be giving away a couple of my books that I've published for the lucky few that watch this show. And there's the Immigrant Survivor Guide. We're going to prepare the documentation for those who want to sign up for our newsletter, or we're going to give it to those who are already on our newsletter, and those who are going to be signing up are going to be getting one or the other of these. If they book consultation with us, this is for those who book consultations. You get it. USA Immigration Q&A Handbook. And it contains all these questions, over 400 of them that you can have about USA immigration. And then we have the Immigrant Status Survivor Guide, how to jump from one status to the other just to keep yourself in status. Very, very strategic book right there. It's available on, and I'm excited about that. It's available on Barnes & Noble, Amazon, and hundreds of sites globally. That's all we got tonight. Thank you so much for being with us. And as before we leave, of course, when I come, I'll close the show. In the meantime, you want to enjoy this, our intro video to the show, courtesy of, I think, Tomiwa did this one. Well done, guys. Great job, great job, great job. Every year, millions of immigrants come to America chasing a dream of opportunity, a dream of a better life, a dream of becoming something more. But what many do not realize is that the journey is filled with confusion, legal traps, and costly mistakes. And that is why this show exists. This is the Immigrant Survivor Show with Dr. Ope Banwo, where we provide information to help immigrants achieve their American immigration dreams without the nightmares. Pay attention as we break it all down for those who have ears to listen. All right, guys, that's all we got for tonight. Thank you again for being on the show. I want to appreciate my team, my hardworking team, the 4 Musketeers. I think we are missing Joseph tonight. Thank you guys so much. Jolomi, hope you enjoyed the show tonight. All right. Thank you so much for the great work you are doing. Grace, thank you so much for the excellent work that you are putting in. And Samuel Opon, a money man, thank you, Greg, for the great job that you guys are all doing. We'll be back again tomorrow with another exciting edition of the Immigrant Survivor Show with Ope Banwo, and we're in the middle of the 30-day marathon edition of this show, where every day we come at you with a memo, with an update, and we answer as many of your questions as we can answer. Plus, of course, we have all the great videos out there for you. At the end of June, the show is going to transition into a weekly show where we come at you once a week to answer your questions and to help you answer every question you might bring for us for free. Thank you so much for being part of this experience tonight. I hope you have learned one or two things. And on behalf of myself, Jolomi, Grace, Samuel, and of course Joseph also, I say good night. I will be seeing you guys tomorrow.
If you are not a U.S. citizen and you get arrested, listen very carefully. A criminal case can affect your immigration status more than most people realize. Many immigrants accept plea deals thinking the problem is over, but immigration law may treat that conviction very differently. Certain drug offenses, fraud crimes, and some domestic violence cases can trigger deportation, even if you have a green card. Even when the criminal penalty seems very minor, even if you didn't get any penalty. That is why immigration and criminal law are closely connected in what is called crimmigration. Before accepting any plea deal, it is important to understand the immigration consequences. If you are not a citizen and are facing criminal charges, visit banwolaw.net now or call 888-215-5054 today so that you can book a consultation and we can talk with you about the implications of that plea deal before you take it. You need to understand how your plea could affect your immigration future. My name is Ope Banwo, and they call me the Immigration Rottweiler. Not because I bark, not because I make noise, but because I don't let go. When your case gets tough, when the system pushes back, when others start telling you there is nothing we can do, that's when you call me. Because once I lock into your case, I don't stop, I don't quit, and I don't back down until we get results. So go book a consultation on speakwithope.com now, and let's activate the Rottweiler mode on your case before the immigration knocks on your door.